right, there we go. All right, going live everywhere then. And
Everywhere, including Kick.
you know what? I've thrown it in. I've thought about that. I'm like, I asked AI. I was like, is this a brand risk to be associated with Kick? And I mean, it's like, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know either.
you know, it's a good question. I don't know. I think it's fine. I hope it's okay. I think it's okay. The big problem I see, honestly, I don't know. Prime, what do you think? I'm live, by the way. Do you streaming to Kick? I guess you're partnered with Twitch, so you can't I guess you can now multi-stream. So, would you multi-stream to Kick?
He does.
You do?
Kick.
I'm doing now.
Oh, okay, cool. It's just I guess like a brand risk kind of thing. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much. I mean, like as long as you're not engaging in the very lucrative, like the gambling streams, I guess.
Yeah.
I think you'll probably be fine. I mean, it's just a platform.
Just take up some bone smashing. You'll get lots of subs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael.
I mean, I get the hesitancy. I did have a little bit of hesitancy myself when I first got started. I mean, the reason why I didn't get started originally is because of what you had, which was really originally referring to, because I was, a partner. They wouldn't allow it. Now they do allow it. Which is unfortunate because honestly, I mean, it's unfortunate that it didn't happen sooner because that would have been helpful for me a lot sooner. Not for Kick specifically, for yourself to be multi-streaming on YouTube. That would have been a big help way back when. But in any case, it happened, so it is what it is now. But yeah, for Kick, what did you say?
Yeah, I think it was probably such a bad move for Twitch to be so isolated in amongst like that world. You know, I don't know. But it's still the ramifications of like the multi-stream shared chat. Like Twitch has to have its own chat on screen or something like that. Still, it has there's some stipulation.
I don't know about that part. I've never heard this.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. You'd know better than me.
Yeah, but in any case, the point is you can it's one, like my Kick stream is not even that popular. And I think yeah, well, one day maybe. But anyway, yeah, it's not even that big of a deal, and I don't think people really care. I think it's more like the things you do on these different platforms. Honestly, is the bigger issue. You're not trying to get kids to gamble. I don't.
Yet.
I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. So there's that.
It's down.
Also, in case you don't know, in case you are looking for one, there is a tool, or there's multiple tools out there, but there's a tool that I use for multi-stream chats, so you can see everything in one spot, right? Rather than having to have the open chats in different places.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a tool that I use. It's called a streamer bot.
Yeah, I got that one. It's weird. Okay, there's not one thing that has all of the. There's not everything the YouTube. The YouTube GIFs don't work in the streamer bot thing. I missed that. The streamer the super chats are good, but then it's weird. But I've actually decided kind of as a thing to not include chat on screen. I don't know. I think that it's a thing I want to have that image or control my stream and not give it over to someone that's spamming or do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I don't do it. Because we can get their thing, whatever message they want immediately on your screen. You can't really control it.
Yeah, exactly.
But then again, at the same time, right, there are much bigger streams who allow that, and like crazy things get on their screen. And like I think basically, at least the way Twitch does it, I think it's like if your mods are immediately like handling it, then it's not that big of a deal. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not a big stream, and risk it. So.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And I don't know. There's not really that much benefit to having it there. Like
I don't think so either.
Actually, don't. Yeah.
The big screens are literally.
I think there's definitely some people out there that like they want to be able to see their messages on screen.
I think especially the bigger streams, like you literally can't see it. It's just the rate of messages that are flying by, and that's how people know that it's like a big moment or whatever. You can't even see it.
But I do think some people like, like just like there's the dopamine hit of like clicking on something and scrolling. I think there's some sort of dopamine hit of like just seeing your message flash on a screen. I think for some people.
Yeah, I mean, no, I can see that I can see it. Not really one of those people, but like I could see that being the case. But I don't know how many of those people subscribe for that. Like yeah. So, but I don't know.
Exactly.
Don't listen to me. Like I have virtually no audience. So
well, ladies and gentlemen, another week. Another time. I mean, they've done such a good job. The Trump administration really reined it in this week. No big science news, nothing going on. They fixed all the problems. They hired the experts back. They did it. They did it.
All the pool cleaning experts.
The pool. Oh my God. Guys, I'm not kidding. My science chat, my scientist friends that I've known for 16 years now. We were algae scientists. That's the type of thing. We met in an algae biofuels lab, and an algae is like the news item right now. It is actually wild, and we're like trying to like talk and brainstorm. Like, what do we do? Like, how can we utilize this? Like, what do we need to do? It's wild. Algae's everywhere.
Algae being the news topic, happening like 3 times in their lifetimes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's either this one or like the poison algae bloom that like happens off the coast of Florida or something. Like
it's slightly bad algae bloom sometimes. It's slightly.
Like I mean, like imagine like being like married to an algae scientist, and then I'm coming home inside. It's like excited, like I'm in the news.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. We made it.
Has come.
We made it. We did it. We did it. It definitely
said my job was boring, but now who's at the last line?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All those decades studying algae. Today's the day.
Yeah.
It all pays off.
So true. Yeah, we made it,
but
team.
Yeah, like my understanding, and I haven't looked deeply into this, so well, Dr. Greg, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But like my understanding is that like, so like we're talking about like the reflecting pool in Washington D.C., right? It's right in front of the Washington Monument. Very long pool, right? Not longer than any building in the world. This is an amazing thing that Donald Trump said. Did you guys hear this? Right? Donald Trump said that.
I remember he showed like the graph or like the figure.
Oh yeah, what was that? That was the craziest graph. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
I haven't seen the graph, so you have to tell me about that. Well, specifically the statement I'm talking about is he said like it's like the pool is so long, it's longer than any building in the world if you laid it down on its side.
Yeah, yeah.
Clearly wrong. Like not even close. Like not even close. Not even close to being true. Right?
It's such a weird metric.
We don't have to even talk about like the largest buildings in the world, like that are a mile long. Right? We don't have to talk about any of those like record-setting ones. Right? Just like most like skyscrapers, like easily crushed. He just says like the dumbest, easily checkable things, and then like his like supporters just eat that crap up all the time, right? They just accept, like make sure he just lies to us all the time. It's just a thing that happens. It's part of his charm. And then they'll come back and say, well, but he tells the truth.
Yeah,
he's a truth teller. It's amazing.
Yeah. Was this the figurative or literal Trump?
That's just hyperbole, or he's just exaggerating as he usually
does,
except the times that he's lying.
It's wild. Oh, like and it's just like one of the many passing comments he puts out like multiple times a day, clear falsehoods that anyone of like 2 working brain cells could figure out.
Yeah,
but he just does it, and Mago thinks it's amazing. Okay, I'm going to move past it. Sorry.
I mean, algae exists, man. Microbes are there. You're going to have them like go in there. It's just a vacuum life.
So my understanding is that like the pool, it like this algae thing isn't like a new problem. right? Like that, like because it's a standing body of water, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every time you do that, and my understanding also is that like so Washington D.C. is built on a swamp, right? Which is fitting. And basically that like the the concrete at some point will like get like tiny cracks, and then like material will come up, and that helps like spread the algae. But anyway, so like apparently my understanding is that like since this reflecting pool was created, not the founding, but since the pool was created, this has always been an issue. They've been like battling and like finding like various workarounds. There is like more some permit solutions, but like super expensive to do, and so no president has actually made the effort. But whatever change that Donald Trump did was like wildly the wrong thing. He apparently, like my understanding is that he like used like swimming pool contractors to
Okay.
like reline the base, because he thought like, oh, this solution that he's coming up to this problem that's always having, right, to a lesser extent, like oh, I can cheaply fix it by just using swimming pool contractors, and then completely wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have more information, I'd love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a no bid contract that he gave to his neighbor. That so it's just corruption and nonsense. That I mean, it's a joke. It was just a nonsense issue that who cares? I mean, basically any type of water that's not crystal clear, a productive body of water is going to have algae and bacteria, and like there's just it's natural. You have the ocean, for example. When you go out in there, if it's crystal clear water, it's actually not very productive. It's not a productive water. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of algae, there's not a lot of dinoflagellates, there's not a lot of diatoms. And those are the three types of microbes that basically cycle, and one's eating another, and then the other one's crashing, and the other one's eating the next. It's cyclical. And when you don't have one or the other, or one's missing, you're just basically going to have algae, which is the primary producer, right? Primary producer means that it uses photosynthesis, it uses energy from the sun in order to grow, and that's what's happening. So you're just having a bunch of primary production in a standing body of water, and that's completely natural. I mean, algae is just, it's going to be in the air. It's algae's in the soil. Soil is going to get into the pool. It's completely natural. You'd have to like bleach it constantly. But it's just very weird. It's just a very weird problem that shouldn't have existed, but he is so in his head about it. It's very weird.
Well, now he doesn't appear to be talking about it like at all, or at least as far as I can tell. Not that I'm following closely like all the stuff that he does, but like at some point, like in the lead up to this, or like before, it was actually completed, we seem to be like bragging about it, like, oh, this is going to be great once it's completed. And then now that it's complete and you have this problem, it seems like he just wants to move on or just like not mention it at all.
Exactly. It's it's a great example of his leadership, man. You know what I mean? It's just a fake issue that he tries to paint over literally, and tried to not engage with. Gives it's a payout for his friend. And then now they don't understand the issue. There's no expertise in it, and that's where we're at. Yeah, the hydrogen peroxide's actually deteriorating the polymer that's connecting the paint to the pool. So big chunks of the paint are just sloughing off. There's like huge, foot long chunks that are just coming off. So the hydrogen peroxide is a really bad idea. So there's just it's
hydrogen peroxide to kill the algae.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And then the hydrogen peroxide is like destroying the lining, the whole
exactly.
lining, that his whole deal.
Yes.
Like, I want to put the blue lining down, so it looks blue now, guys.
American flag blue.
Exactly. So it's just a great example, man. It's a great it's a great example of his leadership and his failure as a president, where it's a fake leadership, fake ideas, focusing on the wrong thing, focusing on I don't know. It's just like I keep wondering, like, when are we gonna have our emperor has no clothes moment with this guy? For all these people that support him still. You know, hopefully maybe Iran is it. I've been debating with like Trumpers, and this seems to be something that they don't understand. And maybe the Epstein files is another thing. They all feel like they've been duped. They were all duped, and he's like gone back on his word, and you just keep talking to him going, no, he was like this. This is not anything new. He was like this the entire time. We've known this since. He hasn't changed since 11 years, and here we are.
And I think, I think it's obvious that I think this was all in the lead up to like July 4th, right?
Exactly.
As in like to have it ready. And I'm curious like how it's going to play out. Is it just not going to be?
It's not July 4th. It was his birthday party. It was his birthday party at the UFC event this past week.
But there's also the aspect of like also July 4th as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's no, dude. Don't you understand, Corey? No, you don't get it. So let me tell you. This is something that I learned with the UFC ads and everything that they ran. If you watched it, guys, you would have expected Flag Day was bigger in the United States than July 4th. They basically talked and drummed this. Basically Trump happens to be born on Flag Day, which is a holiday in the United States that nobody knew about until Trump was elected office. And now MAGA thinks that it's like the number one most decorated patriotic holiday like in the world. And they have parades for Flag Day. The ads were talking about how brave and amazing the Flag Day is, and how in the War of 1812, like the besieged United States was on its brink, and until they wrote the Star Spangled Banner, and he saw the flag, and that was like our turning point as a nation when we like really came into our own. And it's like I'm telling you, the story of Flag Day is actually in these ads was actually seen to be bigger than July 4th. It was so funny, man. These guys they didn't even know about Flag Day, but now it's like. Now it's their biggest thing. And I mean, it's just obvious, like watching the UFC thing, it was just obviously a birthday celebration for Trump, right? And it's just
Did you watch
such
it?
a joke. Oh yeah, of course. I've been watching UFC for like 25 years, man. And it's like, it is so embarrassing, how he gets a bigger walkout and more attention from the media and the UFC media and the production team in the UFC than fighters themselves. He gets the greater, like more people in his walkout. They have bigger times devoted to it. And it's a joke, man. Like the whole point of the thing is it's the fighters. And here this guy is taking this stage away, taking the limelight away. And the fighters aren't getting anything out of it. They're not getting paid anything more from it. And, if he's there and he's a fan, then okay, like, pan to him and he's just there and he says hi, okay, whatever. But the fact that he's taking so much time, I think it was a joke. And my big problem with it is that he literally owns stock of the company that owns the UFC, and the whole government and the buildings and the White House is being used as an ad in order to like sell this product. So it's just, I mean, that's so corrupt.
Yeah. Well, I obviously agree. I didn't watch it, and I don't think I had the ability to watch it in Canada. I don't know exactly how, if I want to access it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Either way, definitely, I don't know. Just very weird, that event.
It's very weird. It was the fights. Yeah, Nico, the fights were incredible. Like there were some really good fights, and they were all, and it's just. It's pathetic, like all of the guy making the thing about Michelle Obama, like rent free, bro. Obamas are living rent free in these guys' head for how long now? Over 10 years. And Obama's aren't even public figures. Like Trump has been a public figure since he's like walked into politics, but Obamas have kind of like walked into the shadows and aren't a big thing. But like to just bring them up, I think it was completely cringe. And all the fighters kind of like after they win, they go over and be like, "Happy birthday! I'm so happy that you're here. This is amazing," and like saluting him and stuff like that. It's just cringe, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at a Washington Post article.
Yeah.
It says the hydrogen peroxide, at least this article says hydrogen peroxide might not be causing the peeling. Instead, like what that might do is like the quote here is less of a sheet peeling off and more like fading, hazing, or breakdown of the material. could cause that. But he said otherwise, like what's probably causing this is that like and this is a pool expert, saying that like the pool surface wasn't properly treated.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then it allows pieces to like to fall off like that. But like I just wanted to like point out a quote here, and this is just like something that pisses me off in general, and I'm guessing you two will agree. So they get a quote from the Interior Department, right? And the agency said in a statement on Wednesday that it is treating the pool with hydrogen peroxide and, quote, high-tech nanobubble ozone technology. To like, okay, this is the thing that bothers me all the time, right? Like, when I need to sell a product to you, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like science buzzword bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So like nanotechnology. Oh, like what the hell is it? High-tech nanobubble ozone technology. What is this? This sounds like some BS.
Yeah, that's definitely BS.
Right?
It's definitely BS.
And if it was
largely yes.
Yeah.
And if it was a computer, right? This is like was a computer problem. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, we're solving it with like quantum technology." Like it's just like BS. At you, right? You got to swallow that. But yeah,
it's all marketing.
And like I'm definitely not a pool expert, but like even the hydrogen peroxide, even if it's not causing whatever the paint to peel or whatnot, and not causing damage to like whatever the pool structure. Not that I'm an expert, but like
badly done, badly.
Well,
yeah.
It's just it's poorly thought. Like from what I remember from my basic chemistry, and maybe they should consult a chemist. I don't think that they did. Like hydrogen peroxide degrades like very quickly when exposed to like light.
Yeah.
As in, like there's a reason why when you buy hydrogen peroxide, it's pretty much always in a dark bottle, because as soon even when you open a bottle of hydrogen peroxide, like over months, or depending on how it's stored, maybe over years, that potency of the hydrogen peroxide degrades. And if you're just going to pour hydrogen peroxide in a giant pool exposed to sunlight, it's just going to be all degraded in probably a matter of like hours or days, and you're going to be back to square one.
So I have to keep pouring.
Yeah, exactly. So what they did, and you can see that in the aerial footage, they basically only they thought they would dilute out, and they poured it in only at the outer edges. So you could see like that it didn't dilute and it just like basically sank. Yeah. So you actually
like a ring around
yeah. So you actually had people like walking around with hydrogen peroxide, like putting them in. It's just it's a joke, man. It's a joke. It's very funny.
But like this is what happens, right? Like it's what we say every week, right? This is what happens when like people have a disdain for expertise. Like Donald Trump thought like he was like just like he thinks he's an expert in everything. He thought he was an expert in like polls and like like I don't know, man. Like I would just like defer to people who might know what the hell they're talking about. But then again, like if it's his a person he knows who's like put money in his pocket, well then I don't know, whatever, sure. Like he can tell some yes. Donald Trump doesn't know any better. Donald Trump won't ask anyone, right, for a second opinion. It's like, hey, I'm about to do this. In fact, I'm going to make this like a big thing. Like it's not like he did this quietly, right? It's like, oh, let's just like do some work on this thing, right? He made this a media point, right, for weeks, talking about the reflecting pool, right, as if he had like consulted experts, like consulted like multiple people, and like really sat down. And this is like okay, like this is a present to America. He was going to do, but he didn't do any of that. Right? Because he's lazy, he doesn't care, right? None of it matters. And so once again, he like bumbled himself into this, right? An easily avoidable situation. Like just and he could and it was crazy because like I said, like it is the whatever actual remedial issues that would solve this like can be done, right? Like there are some more permanent solutions to this, but they're gonna be expensive. Yeah, they would have cost like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of like what the Iran war costs, right? Like a fraction of what a day of the Iran war costs, right? Like you could have just like authorized that, like serious restructuring, and it would have been good because if you had actually done that, right? Then actually like like the reason why this pool looks so good is because of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't bother. In fact, he's like, I'm gonna deal. I got some great deal.
I know a guy.
Whatever joker he hired to do this doesn't have the ability to do that kind of remediation, right? So like whatever, he just offered a solution. Donald Trump too stupid to know otherwise, right? To even think otherwise, or to hire or to consult like the massive federal government at his beck and call, right,
exactly,
that can actually answer and research these questions for you, provide you a detailed report. None of that happened. None of it happened. Exactly. And then like we have neon green water, which Fox News tells you, don't believe your lying eyes, it's blue.
Yeah. It's just the reflection. Yeah, exactly. It's just the angle.
I think even if I remember correctly, although I don't want to like spread misinformation, but I think even like the Interior Department like sent out a tweet saying like the water's crystal clear.
Family thing. Be right back. 5 minutes.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna bring up the tweet. And all they say was like crystal clear, but like they sort of like they somehow incorporate I think like the Iran war as well in the tweet. It's a very bizarre tweet. If in fact it's true. Again, I'm going to like...
Actually, I'm looking at the Washington Post article in the next paragraph that I didn't read previously, right? It says, on Thursday, the Interior Department press office posted on Twitter that, quote, the reflecting pool water is crystal clear, and our National Park Service team is now backing up the dead algae resting on the bottom of some parts of the reflecting pool, just like the... And then they say, space, just like the destroyed Iranian Navy resting on the bottom of the Persian Gulf. It's wild. Like they're just lying to you, and they just casually do it all the time.
And like, this is on paper, there should be like an easy optical win for this administration, right? And like from what I understand, like this is not like a unique problem to like the Trump administration. I believe I'm sure other presidents have had issues with the reflecting pool. But like, if he's so competent, and if he's like, has the biggest brain according to him, like this should be like an easy optical win. At least that's what I would hope. And yeah, the fact that based off of the tweet that you read out, it's like they're I don't know how you can get away with lies like this. So just like literally, everyone can easily fact check this. It's not crystal clear.
Easily.
And then just the poor taste of like, with that Iranian Navy resting on the bottom of the Persian Gulf. Just like, I don't know how anybody...
You mean the Iranians who just kicked your ass?
True, yeah, there's that aspect too.
Dude, the deal is so bad. It was so insane. But yeah, the false alarm. Okay. Okay, so let's get to the news for the week, man. It's been wild. Big story. DOJ seeks to halt air pollution lawsuit against the XAI data center. The department cited national security concerns, saying Elon Musk's company had played a crucial role in the Iran war. It also argued it had the authority to stop environmental lawsuits brought by citizens. In an unusually aggressive move, the Justice Department told a federal court in Mississippi that Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company, XAI, has the right to run dozens of polluting gas-burning turbines in the state despite not having permits for them. The Justice Department late on Monday said that the court should throw out a lawsuit against XAI that was brought by the NAACP, claiming that the turbines violate the Clean Air Act. The suit threatens national security by, quote, seeking to shut off the power supply for artificial intelligence innovation that supports the Department of War's military operations, end quote, according to the memo, which was signed by Stanley Woodward Jr., Associate Attorney General and the number 3 official at the department. I think that was it's just wild to me that there is... The Justice Department, it's clear, right? I mean, he doesn't have the permits for these data centers. The data centers are, violating.
He got some sort of exception for that. At least, made in, like, he should have gotten it, in my opinion. But like,
yes,
it seems like he
exactly, and it's like, and it reminds me of what's happening in Texas too. Tesla is just openly polluting into waterways. Like how is Elon Musk allowed to do all of these exceptions to just constantly get around and skirt all these regulations?
It's a good question.
Exactly.
And I think, I'm curious how this is going to play out. Like, obviously, or maybe not obviously, but I think it's pretty clear, at least, people's sentiments in North America towards AI is, I think, pretty like not favorable. As I think overall, I think based off of recent polling, like people are not on board with AI, especially AI data centers, and like I think this is only going to fuel that anger even more and the pushback against AI data centers.
And it's
I don't
just
know how you can justify this.
and like I love the idea of, you know, pharmaceutical companies are evil inherently, you know, in this Maha worldview, right, where it's like they're evil because of what they do, because for whatever reason. But the XAI, under the same like capitalist profit motive and, you know, all that stuff, just openly polluting, you know, is Eli Lilly polluting, you know, the community is a community pool, or, well, you know,
those pharmaceutical companies are making those poisonous vaccines. But if you're poisoning the air, then it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Poisons in the air. Exactly. So as you're inhaling it 24/7 in your community,
it has an impact. These are the guys that were trying to keep people healthy by, you know, like stopping all of these, you know, forever chemicals and trying to stop this pollution of glyphosate, or, you know, however they viewed the environment impacting health. That was their whole thing, that the environment had a huge impact on people's health, keep making people diseased. Mm-hmm. And now they're coming through telling people kind of like what's happening. They're speaking truth to power, and here they increase glyphosate production, increase the amount of forever chemicals, increase PFAS regulation, deregulation, allow XAI to, you know, pollute without any type of permits, just over and over again, man.
Yeah, I'm curious how this is going to intersect, or rather, I hope it actually does intersect with the Maha movement. Like, if there's any positive that this movement can do, I would think it would be like being against these polluting AI data centers. Because it's like, if these are in their communities, you know, pumping out all of those pollutants from the gas turbines, or even if they're not gas, like, I don't see how. I think they're generally pretty anti.
I mean, Mississippi, it's going to be, I don't know what it is, but I mean, it's going to be natural gas, like 90%. I'm 90% sure it's going to be natural gas. Most parts of the country, it's going to be natural gas. So that's just, and the fact that they come in and they actually, the Department of Justice of all things, like decide with the producer, the polluter of the, you know, it's just, and the justification. What are we do? God, this is like a national security threat. Like what are they running? What's the Department of Defense running through the XAI Grok? What do they do? What are they using it for?
I mean, yeah, like I'm definitely not a national security expert, but it seems like not the greatest side. If your whatever defense systems are relying on like a data center in whatever Mississippi, Tennessee. That seems like a problem, but like, what do I know? I'm not.
No, I don't know about that. Like they already relying on like various data centers for like storage, right? Like forget like working on data, just like, you know, storing data, right? Mm-hmm. Like they use massive databases in general. So like having it in another facility, like you can have like a federally approved facility, right? That like meets a certain level of security standards, right? Like they have contracts with like Amazon, Google, and what have you, for exactly that. So that part in itself doesn't bother me. It's more like if the output of Grok being like the least of the major offerings, AI offerings, is like useful. And doing anything like
it's the worst,
like way behind the times, right? Yeah. And everyone knows it. Like it's very clear, right? Is actually like a useful thing to use. So yeah, that's my only problem.
I mean, the number one use for Grok is basically the fact that you can have it's used for companionship. People are using it because it does like weird relationship things that no one other thing does. And then also making adult material. Basically, you can just pay for like $40 a month to make whatever video of whatever content you want. And just, yes,
That seems to be what Elon Musk pushes.
Yes, literally. That's what that's the differentiator. I mean, it's so there's no way that they're actually using Grok to run anything. You know, they were already on Anthropic about like having access to their stuff and OpenAI. So
Elon Musk himself say, I could be misremembered, but didn't he himself say like Grok was like built poorly from the beginning and needs to be rebuilt from the ground up?
I mean, well, he just bought Cursor, so you know, so I mean, they're very lagging behind, like in development in terms of actually being in need. But why, like, just the running the defense? I just the NAACP alleges that the XAI currently operates 57 gas turbines in Mississippi to cover its Colossus 2 data center located near the border of Tennessee without pollution controls required by the Clean Air Act. This makes the facility one of the country's biggest single industrial sources of smog-forming nitrogen oxide, the plaintiffs allege, as well as a significant source of other harmful air pollutants like particulate matter and formaldehyde, disproportionately affecting vulnerable groups like children, older adults, and low-income and minority households. I mean, this seems exactly what they were talking about, like Maha and and RFK.
I had known about this particular problem for months with their Colossus data center. Like this has been ongoing for quite a while. Now, don't quote me on this, but like I think the issue is, again, don't quote me on this, but like my understanding was that like they couldn't get like the appropriate level of power from like the grid. And this is like an ongoing issue with these like new data centers, right? Like
that sounds right.
Not as
based off what I've read.
Sorry?
I said that sounds correct to me based off of what I've read as well.
Yeah. So like not as many are being built as like people think. Only because, well, for many reasons, but like there are a bunch of like issues, barriers in the way of like finishing construction, right? Not the least of which is like the cost of filling them with GPUs. But like one of the reasons, and it's a big reason, is finding places with an electrical system, right? Like an electrical infrastructure that can support this, right, and like provide enough power and all that, right? We're not even bringing up like raising everyone else's electric bills. We're ignoring that for now. But like one, it's just finding a place with the level of infrastructure, a big issue, right? But even then, right, actually like hooking up your center, right, to that infrastructure requires like certain critical equipment, and that critical equipment, these like transformers and whatnot, right? Like there are only a few companies that make those. There are back orders like for years at this point, like super long back orders.
Yeah, literally.
And so like you just literally cannot finish the construction. This is why what's his name? I'm gonna say is like he's got that moniker, Mr. Wonderful. You know what I'm talking about? The
yeah, I know who you're talking about, the name? Shark Tank guy.
Shark Tank guy. Yeah.
Oh, O'Leary, Kevin O'Leary.
Yes, yeah. Your guy, Corey.
Yes, he's Canadian. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan.
He's your guys' Elon Musk.
one of Corey's blood brethren.
Best friends.
Yeah, like an uncle who used to visit.
No, you can have him. I'm glad he's in the U.S.
Maple brother.
Stay there.
But Kevin O'Leary has like been talking about like creating some like massive data center in Colorado, was it, or Utah, one of those states, right? And like people have been making like a big stink over this, right? Like, oh no, like oh my guy's coming. There's no reason, first of all, that Kevin O'Leary, who's failed upwards his entire life, right? There's no reason to think that he has the ability to do this, right? Like, period, right? Like he bought, my understanding is that he bought the land, right? May have gotten it rezoned, but like there's no reason. So many people who are better resourced and are actually experts within the field of like logistics and construction, right, have failed doing exactly this. There's no reason to think that Kevin O'Leary can do it, right, at all. And then there's raising the capital. There's no reason to think that Kevin O'Leary can raise the capital. And then it's actually constructing it, right? And you're going to be running to all the things that I said and additional issues that I haven't covered yet. So like this is why I'm saying like when I hear things like this, like mostly they're just attention grabbing. Kevin O'Leary is like lapping up attention and using it for I'm sure for whatever. But like, and if you just like because people may not be familiar with this guy, right? You may not be familiar, but like you look at his history, failure after failure that he's managed to monetize, right? Like he like screwed over Mattel. That was like it's a whole long story. How like Mattel, like the toy corporation, bought one of his companies and they found out that it was like a dud, and he practically was cooking his books. It was Mattel had like this female president who was in charge, and I think she like ended up resigning over like this O'Leary incident. This is years ago, like decades ago, right? But like he's just because he's a fraud. He's just a fraud, and Mattel fell for the fraud. And so like just keep that in mind. Just like be skeptical of these headlines. Just a level of skepticism here.
Yeah, everything you said makes sense, and I'm curious how this is going to play out because I think, as you essentially alluded to, Prime, like essentially the one of the major bottlenecks to having these AI data centers is like having either supplying them with energy or just the overall energy infrastructure or both. And like
water infrastructure too.
Yeah, exactly. But then it's like, well, maybe if there was at some point, some investment in like, renewable energy technology, like maybe solar or wind or nuclear, maybe maybe there was an opportunity there to not have this bottleneck. And that's where I think, as I've made the case before, this is where I think China probably has the advantage over the long term.
For sure.
Like, Rick Perry, who was the former governor of Texas, also pulled this very same trick. I'm not even sure I could call it a trick, right? Just faceplant, maybe more like it. Rick Perry, who has on multiple occasions like put himself at like he was part of this project, right? And he was just pretty much the face of the project. Rick Perry, in case you don't know anything about him, he's a very stupid man, very like a dumb idiot, right?
I remember.
He embarrassed himself and was running for president.
Yeah.
He couldn't even remember his own plan. That was an amazing moment.
I remember that.
Yes. And I think it was like when he was tasked like list some like departments or like institutions of the government.
Yeah, it was Chris Christie, right? That asked him those questions. Like, anyway, go ahead.
And it was Ron.
They were joking about it. Like, oh, there he goes again. He's gonna say the thing, and then he said the thing. Anyway,
it was Ron, not one of the senators. I'm forgetting his name.
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Lad would be ashamed of me for not remembering his name. I'm just blanking. I'm sorry. But Ron Paul.
Like, you should forget him.
He was trying to finish his list for him because Rick Perry couldn't remember. Anyway, it was a classic moment. In case you haven't seen it, search for Rick Perry, like a debate, right? Presidential debate, and it's amazing. Anyway, he's a very stupid individual. He got himself involved with an AI data center construction project in Texas, appropriately, right? And they bought the land, right? And they had construction equipment, but like it's been a complete mess. It's not going to happen at all. They released a bunch of like videos of like like work is happening. It was like AI generated. I was like, right? It was like AI like literally like you saw like a convoy like involved. It was like a convoy of like construction equipment coming through, and if you like looked into the windows of like the convoy, you look closely, there's like no drivers there. Like it's a mess. But like they were running into a whole series of problems, like I just said, right? Kevin O'Leary is the face of this project too. He's doing the same grift in where it was Colorado, wherever this place is happening, right? So once again, I'm telling you, there's no chance that he's going to build it. Literally no reason to get upset and butthurt about this at all.
Yeah. There's a question from chat. How is he opening a data center without having his own software or AI? So Ruben, he's basically, these data centers are selling they're basically selling the compute power for these AI models, but by selling it, like going to the companies that like Anthropic, OpenAI, xAI, and being like, hey, if you want to run your model, you can run it with us in the cloud, and basically these places go to them and buy them. So yeah, you're exactly right, Prime. They just don't have enough power for a lot of these local build outs, and that's why like Microsoft, for example, bought 3 Mile Island for OpenAI, stuff like that. They're having to like
the nuclear power.
Yeah, they're having to get nuclear power involved. There's also like a lot of these
Won't that
are
take like a really long time? I could be wrong, but
I mean,
the problem was the 3 Mile Island was decommissioned. I'm not sure if all the reactors were decommissioned completely, but it was in the process at least of decommissioning. You have to reverse commissioning, and that's like a difficult thing. It's like not easily. You can't just like spin these things back up. Like it's like a whole.
It's just flicking the switch. But
yeah. They don't just like turn it off and like walk away. It's like, I guess we're done here. No. But like it might take a while, but like it's a possibility to recommit.
Yeah, no, I know. Like, there's a movement to like revive nuclear power plants because, like, well, again, maybe because as we're seeing, like, and that's where it's interesting to me. Like, China's building, as far as I understand, they're building new nuclear power plants, and like the U.S. is in the process of like, let's try to decommission or like revive our old ones. And I don't know how much that infrastructure holds up or not. I'm definitely not an expert on that. But yeah, from what I understand, like even if I think the U.S. wants to build a brand new nuclear power plant, that would take like years and years and years.
It takes a long time. It takes a long time for it to. It's very expensive. Nuclear is by far the most expensive cost per kilowatt hour for a long time. That's why a lot of the new data centers are actually building out like renewables with it. So they'll have solar arrays and wind arrays like with it so that they can help like generate some of their own like power renewably. So and sustainably, like long term, just so that they have their own power.
But even if there's this greater movement towards solar, I think also China wins there as well.
I agree with you.
China produces like 80 to 90% of solar panels.
Yeah, they have the majority of they have the most installed solar by far. Absolutely. Okay, next up. So he's back at it again. Kennedy seeks to expedite appeal of ruling that blocked his vaccine policies. The health secretary is trying to restart the work of a panel that advises the government on vaccines after a judge froze its decision and prevented it from meeting. The Trump administration has requested an expedited appeal of a federal court ruling that blocked a series of decisions on vaccines made by HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, including rescinding routine recommendations for immunizations against a half-dozen childhood diseases. Mr. Kennedy announced in a social media post on Friday that the administration had filed the motion to expedite appeal so that the federal vaccine advisors could meet to decide whether to recommend shots for the fall flu season. The move is the latest development in a lawsuit brought by 6 medical organizations, including the American Academy of Pediatrics. The suit contended that Mr. Kennedy and his appointees at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention had made arbitrary and capricious changes to the childhood vaccine schedule. It argued that the panelists Mr. Kennedy appointed to the Advisory Committee for ACIP, the Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices, a panel of outside experts, did not have the qualifications to recommend vaccinations and that their decisions endangered the health of Americans. The ruling, delivered on March 16th by a federal judge in Massachusetts, temporarily blocked Mr. Kennedy's policies while the trial continued. It froze all decisions made by the panelists Mr. Kennedy had appointed and prevented a committee from meeting as scheduled. So these are the ACIP meetings that they had, and there is something. Their justice system in this country is flawed. I think we need to relook at a lot of aspects of it. But I do appreciate how a lot of these judges, you do have to come in and at least like show your work. And a lot of times, because they're spurless and they're coming in without any new studies, without any new data, and they're rescinding things, and they're basically they're canceling contracts, they're canceling orders. The companies are losing money. So these towns have these orders coming in, and now they're not. Now it's costing them more. There's lots of things that happen when he makes these arbitrary rulings, and they're suing and they're saying, "Show us," and the judges is like, they got nothing. So what do we do? And it's what we talked about so often, is that these guys they are making this an ideological football, right? Of this, vaccines or health or whatever that is, without any data to back it up, without any like new idea. They're just making this stuff up, guys.
Yeah, at like a surface level, a very surface level, like the most superficial level, like this looks like, Kennedy, or like almost like a good thing, or like trying to frame it as a good thing. Of like, we just want to like convene this panel so that we can make decisions on the flu vaccine coming up in for the fall. But like the recommendations are almost certainly going to be not good recommendations. And so I'm glad that, like, yeah, as you brought up, you have these groups like the American Academy of Pediatrics, standing the ground saying like, no, like, need to do better.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, it's just, it is nice to see. I don't know. It's quaint. I mean, at the end of the day, all this stuff. The problem is all this stuff is one of those things, especially in law and all these. You can just kind of appeal until it goes to SCOTUS, and SCOTUS is going to be just magically find a way in order to say that Trump was actually in the right here, and it's actually a national security aspect, and the president actually has full discretionary say so on national defense issues. So that therefore, these contracts you can't stop the president from keeping us safe from, something poisonous. And, he actually had the power the entire time, but they also say a lot of times like, oh, this can't actually be higher in the future. This isn't going to work. But miraculously it was there. It's just Trump used it. We didn't know that it existed until now, but he's okay that he did it. And he's immune, by the way, that he did do it.
Oh yeah, all of these, whatever, after the fact rationalizations, or whatever it takes to justify whatever actions that they want to take. I'm just curious of like, how this could potentially, like, in your mind, what is the best case scenario in terms of how this plays out, or do you have in mind a best case scenario of how this plays out that it could?
You have to use every tool in the toolkit in order to stop this, and this is just one of those tools. I think it's like a, it's a screwdriver in the spoke wrench. It's not going to stop the train, from going
that's
forward.
What I was gonna more or less gonna follow up with, like, is this more or less not that I disagree with what they're doing, obviously, like, I'm in support, but like is this basically just like delaying the inevitable? Like at the end of the day, like if Kennedy wants to implement these bad policies, it's only a matter of time before he finds a way to do it, type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, he could literally, I mean, Trump could solve this by just writing an executive order. I mean, it's just that's just is what it is. And then what are they going to do? So it's like he's and the problem is that as the Supreme Court has ruled before, district court judges don't have the power to actually fight back against the president of the United States. This is something that came up in an earlier ruling. Basically that, a judge had stopped the presidential power. Hey, thank you. Oh, thank you, Alphonse. Super chat in appreciation of Prime and Corey. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank
nice.
You. Thank you.
So yeah, I think it's I don't know, man. I think you have to use every tool in the toolkit in order to stop this stuff. But I don't think that it could.
I agree.
I don't know what else to do. Yeah.
That's where it's like, yeah, I'm not even sure what the solution is, because, but it does seem like a flaw that, like, if ultimately it's like, if more or less like, if the president can more or less dictate vaccine guidelines, recommendations, it's like, well, and what's the point of having any institution at all? But like, I don't know how to solve that problem. Like, I'm not sure there's a good solution.
That is you're pointing out the problem of the Trump has irreversibly, in my view, pointed out a fatal flaw in the United States Constitution that can't be fixed unless we have rewrite the Constitution. I think you have to.
I agree. He pointed it out, but I think it's more a testament of, like, at the end of the day, like, the country functions based off of, like, good faith, and like good faith belief largely in these institutions of like they have a role, they overall have a good track record, because like yes, if you find every loophole and you can like I don't think you can craft any amount of laws that like someone can't find a loophole around. And so it's like yes, I guess Trump is exposing these loopholes, but then if it's more or less by my estimation, but I'd be happy to be wrong, but by my estimation, if it's impossible to patch these loopholes, then like, what do you do for the next Trump?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think that you have to have the Democrats push these same holes that exist in our Constitution so hard that the Republicans hate it, and then we have like a mutually assured like, okay, wow, that was we really went too far in the paint there, and they kind of both say this probably isn't the best to have like an authoritarian government when we should be, going through democracy and our Constitution. But I don't see any. That's why that's the only path, or we just continue down this fascist route, and that's the problem that I see, man. I think he's exposed. Basically, any given scenario, if there is a national defense plausibility way to talk or bring that into it, the president has full discretion now and can do whatever they want with full immunity. So,
as in like, if I'm understanding you correctly, of like Democrats, if or when they get into power or return to power, like that, they have to do everything in their power to more or less, whatever, quote unquote, punish the Republicans.
Yeah, I mean, 1.5 trillion dollar defense budget. President AOC comes in and says, "Hey, it's a national security threat. Our healthcare system is a national security threat because it impacts troop readiness, and we have to have universal healthcare. So universal healthcare is now paid by the military and that defense budget."
Yeah, I don't disagree.
You like do stuff like that where it's like, everyone signs up. Starting next week, everyone signs up for the VA, and everyone gets free healthcare through the VA. Stuff like that. I think it has to be big, hugely impactful to the point where Congress has to say, "Whoa, okay, that. Let's not do it that way, but like let's have universal healthcare and let's pass a law like so that we can like codify this a little bit." That's how I would. I don't know, in my how the best case scenario would be. That would
like
probably
basically
be
a taste of their own medicine type of thing.
Yeah, dude.
And I don't disagree. As in,
you have to.
I think the next administration, if it's Democratic, like based off of having the UFC fights on the White House lawn, I think like the biggest drag show should take place like every day.
Fierce
on the White House.
RuPaul's Drag Race. Just have RuPaul's Drag Race the next season. Just be having it in the White House.
I'd be all in favor of that. It's
paint the White House pink.
You want to go down? Just like double down.
Mm-hmm. White House Pink House. We're changing it up. What are you talking about? What's wrong with that?
Like there was, if I remember correctly, there was a whole controversy or debacle around having the trans flag represented on the White House at one point. And so it's like, well, if that's, let's say, in poor taste according to some people, but then the UFC is not, well then okay, like you open this can of worms. So I think Democrats, if or when they get into power, like they should double down. So like a whole season of RuPaul's Drag Race on the White House.
Exactly. What's up? And why not the president? I mean, what's the president doing? Trump's just like watching TV all day. Maybe the next president can be in the drag show. You know what I mean? Let's see a drag queen, drag king from the president. Let's see what's going on. From Chat Buckle. The issue is, I think that the Democratic voters are anti-authoritarian, Republicans are pro-authoritarian, so we can't use the same tools against them because we'll face consequences that they do not. But the problem, Buckle, is the constitutional loophole that the Trump administration has illuminated through this fascist kick that they have is this pro-authoritarian loophole or vulnerability that exists in our Constitution, and the Republicans, in order to say like we need to rein this back, have to kind of get some of their own medicine. You have to kind of like fight fire with water, and the fact that like, oh, okay, you were using the authoritarian parts of our government to spend $1 billion a day in Iran in order to cover up the Epstein files, in order to go after and shield Elon Musk from pollution lawsuits. We used it to improve healthcare, in order to improve quality of life through renewable and sustainable energy production, in order to increase technology spending. So, like, using those powers in ways that improve people's quality of life, and ways that even Republican voters are benefited from, but that the Republican Party is like, ideologically, that's going to hurt us. We can't just be like going that. We can't just keep allowing that to happen. That's how I see it.
Yeah. I largely agree there. And furthering down the notion of, pretty much a taste of their own medicine, of like, I would say by my estimation, like, a norm that has been broken is like, usually from what I understand, at least in my experience, based off what I observe, okay, during my lifetime, is like, presidents don't typically like comment on past presidents, or like, Obama was turning out like trashing, Bush, as far as I can tell. I'm sure there may be some comments here and there, but I don't think he ever like outright called like Bush like an idiot or whatnot.
Yeah.
Or like, explicitly corrupt. But Trump seems to have broken that norm over and over, or rather, that's not a norm that he follows close.
Obama still. Obama still is like
still
taking the higher
Biden,
road.
Hunter Biden and the entire Biden family and Obama. That's like, I don't see any reason why the next Democratic president should not just like absolutely just trash.
But the problem is like, I mean, I think absolutely. I think that I mean, honestly, dude, I would have like, we would just remove Trump from the history books. Like, we don't even put his picture up on the presidential walk. We don't even recognize him. We say there was a president. We remove his presidency. We say his whole presidency is invalid because there was a constitutional amendment to stop people from being elected that supported insurrections. The Supreme Court ruled incorrectly on that. We disagree with the Supreme Court. He was an invalid presidency, so we wiped the entire slate with everything. So anything that happened during his presidency, all his presidential executive orders, everything that he did is rescinded and null and void, and we don't even recognize it anymore. That honestly, that is the case. That's how I would view it. How the Democratic Party should go forward.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily opposed to that, but I'm obviously biased. I just think that it's maybe a little bit too easy of a solution, as opposed to like, just like, I don't know. I think like every unflattering picture of Trump should just be like plastered all over the place during the next administration, just like whatever, laughed at and mocked.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Prime?
But maybe I'm being too petty. I don't know.
Am I being petty? Do you think I mean, obviously, I'm giving like the 1% chance of actually happening. I don't think that that's actually going to happen. But I mean, do you think that would actually be any type of progress?
No, and I'd be against it.
Interesting.
I think that one, like, I don't see the point of erasing history. I mean, America tries to do that all the time with various, abuses that it gets up to, and I don't support that. I think actually we need to learn more from our history. Trump is something that we shouldn't hide, right? Trump, especially, is a symptom of rot within our democratic institutions, in our society, right? Like this person, the people look at him as the cause, but he's not the cause. He's the symptom, right? This type of person got elected. People thought he was a democratic fluke before, right? And like, okay, maybe we just ignore it. Every country gets one of these, right? It's fine. But no, then he got reelected again. Like, this shows an enduring flaw, and an enduring problem within our societal makeup, right? That just like metastasizes into this person. No, in fact, Trump needs to be studied. He's going to go down as one of the most consequential presidents in our lifetime, like the most consequential presidents in our lifetime. And consequential, of course, doesn't mean good. It just means
badly consequential.
yes, just the consequences have been awful. And we need to be to understand it. We can't like walk away from this. And why did America go down this path? I think Corey was right before when he was talking about how like these quote unquote loopholes. They're not even really loopholes, but like how he is just like taking advantage of like the rules, or it's more the lack thereof.
Yeah.
Because this is closer to what Corey was trying to say. Like any government just has to work off of um, uh, like faith that the people in charge will respect the institutions.
Yeah.
Like once you put a person in charge and they don't respect the institutions, they can undermine them. Period. Right. And like they're in charge. They have power, and so from within the government, they can do whatever they please. Right. Like at some like you could. I mean, if Trump had the ability to, right, and he had the support, he could dismiss Congress, right? He could just do that. With the military, he could just say we're done with Congress. That's a thing of the past, right? So like if you don't respect these, they just don't like protect themselves, right? So like yes, you could do some tinkering on the edges to make it harder to do this or that, but like if it's a rule, then there's something else you can do. And then again, like sometimes he just like ignores them, right? Or he says like he has a power they clearly doesn't have, and then what you have to do? What was the remedy at that point? Well, you go to the courts, and you have judges go through that process. Judges that
like a 6 months to 1 year, 2 year process, right?
Yeah, right. And at the end, for a judge that he may put in place to have ruled on it. It's like I don't know,
Dude,
man.
thank
like,
you so much. 5 gift subs. Thank you so much, dude.
Works. This is the consequences of the democracy. It's just how it works. And if you're the loser, you've got to sit there and take it at some point, really. But so, like, what to do, right? You talked about how, Dr. Greg, you talked about fighting fire with fire, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
To a certain extent, I'm with you here, right? Like, and I've been saying this as well, that like, hey, we should be like pushing along like our agenda. By our agenda, I mean my leftist progressive agenda, right? Not the liberal agenda. Those are two different things. But still, at the very least, like we should be when Democrats are in power, even their liberal agenda, right? Like they should be like pushing that through. They refuse, and that's where your plan is going to fall apart because liberals are more concerned about process. And so, though they
Dave,
will,
thank you so much for the
times,
super chat.
right?
Thank you.
They will say, well, the process is allowing me to do these things, right? And I have to defend the process because the process is what makes democracy function.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know, democracy seems to be, the country seems to be ticking along, like even if the process is being undermined right this second, right? But they're being undermined for the purposes of like corporate greed, for purposes of RFK, right, and his agenda, right? So like if I was going to undermine the processes, well, yeah, I'd rather undermine it for the reasons that you said, Dr. Greg, right? Like to provide Medicare for all. So I would say, like, yes, I would agree with you that President AOC should use pretty much exactly what you said. That she should go in there and say, like, yeah, for national security's sake, right? Like, yeah, we all for defense preparedness, like everyone should have health care, right? People are too sick, right? I would say that something that'll happen. Like, but I would predict the Democrats would get in her way. The Democrats would do that.
I wouldn't disagree with you. Like, I think that is a problem of like, I think it's a problem now.
Dude, thank you, Helen. Thank you.
This aspect of, decorum, which I understand that had utility maybe 10, 20 years ago. And that's how the process should have played out. But like relying on norms and decorum, I think clearly not working and probably not the way forward unless something dramatically changes in the culture.
But I'm confused though. I mean, we remove statues of Confederate soldiers and those type of people that are in history, right? These people are lauded and they're leaders. They're people that we teach in history books and that kind of stuff, but we remove their statues. So, and I guess in my mind, like give take away Trump what he loves the most and what his cult loves the most is that name recognition. By taking that away, we can talk about intersectionality, racism, fascism, all these different aspects that are evil and rooted in American culture and in our nationalism without focusing on Trump.
But that's different. One, right? The Confederacy were traitors, right? Don't care if your great granddaddy was part of the Confederacy. He was a fucking traitor. Screw your granddaddy. So there's a reason why you can just say well, we don't need to be teaching those, right? But also, right, why were those statues built? Right, those statues were built at a very specific point in American history. Right? Pretty much most of those Confederate statues were built. I'm not going to tell you the decade now because
after
the top of my head. Yeah, but it's significantly after the Civil War. But there was like a period of 2 decades, right? That's where they were all built. And during this time, and again, I forget the exact time period, so I'm not going to embarrass myself here. But the point is that during this time period, and leading up to it, right, there was an effort, right? There was a group called the Daughters of the Confederacy.
Yeah.
And they made an effort to insert into the American education system their ideas about the Confederacy, right? They provided books that softened and just reimagined what the whole situation was about, right? And it the war of Northern aggression. They just made up this BS, right? They did history for their own purposes, right? So that they could hide what it was actually about, right? So they could have a better view of themselves, of Southern pride, right? And also of whiteness, of hide the brutality of what this is all about. But we should be looking at the truth of what the Confederacy was, right? Not praising Robert E. Lee, right? Obviously, right? We can both agree on that. But we should be looking at the truth, teaching the truth, examining the truth, not turning away to pretending the Confederacy didn't happen, right? That's not the response, right? Now, I mean, we could take down those statues. I agree, taking down the statues. But in terms of dealing with what the Confederacy was, what happened in America, right? What brought it about, the fight that happened and its aftermath, all that needs to be faced. And I would say the same thing about Trump, right? The conditions that brought him about, his actual presidency, and the aftermath we're going to be dealing with for decades. I'm telling you, he's going to be the most consequential you've had in your entire lifetime, right? That we can't turn away from.
Agreed. Yeah, we're gonna have to have a second reconstruction, and that's my point there. with that's the thing that I don't understand. I don't know how we get back. I don't think that we could go through a rewriting of the Constitution. I don't think that I think that's dangerous. Bannon et al. Love the idea of a constitutional convention because they have so much power through capital now that they could rewrite the Constitution to be whatever they want, and it's extremely dangerous. So I would be scared of that. So we have to figure out ways of figuring out how to do this. NB in chat, I grew up being genuinely taught that the Confederate flag was not racist, was just culture. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of people thought exactly what Prime was saying. It's just a war of Northern aggression and stuff. It's wild. It's very dangerous. But
yeah.
Go ahead, Prime. Go ahead, Corey. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and going back to what we were talking about a lot of things, but again going back to what to do next. And one of my concerns, and it may be not a valid concern, but I think as we has been alluded to, is some people on the left want to take the approach of well, okay, to solve this problem with Trump, we need to again sort of patch up the loopholes or cover up those loopholes, as in come up with enough rules, and maybe that'll work. But again, I foresee that with the appropriate bad actor, they're going to find a way around. And also, in my mind, if you have to draft something that tries to cover every single loophole, you just have this massive document of a constitution, is that really a reflection of a good, proper, functioning society? Of I don't know. The example that I use is like, as far as I know, but someone correct me if I'm wrong, of like, we don't have rules for just like standing in line. People just seem to like naturally kind of like line up, outside of maybe, you know, COVID era and, you know, the rush for toilet paper. But like, we all seem to recognize that, like, generally speaking, and, you know, stores will enforce it. But I'm curious how it works out of like, if there's a lineup that like into the sidewalks, but then you have like someone cutting in line, is like, do the police have power to enforce that? I don't actually know.
I mean, if the people are lining up, Corey, if people are lining up in the United States right now, it's for mini bags at Trader Joe's. That's true. Do you know about this? This is actually the thing. The thing. I'm not exactly literally, sure. People are going like absolutely like tickle me Elmo crazy right now in the United States. There is like these little mini tote bags that Trader Joe's released for $3 or something, and there's like 4 different colors, and everyone's got to like have them all, and they're all people are like lining up like half a mile down the block. It's just absolutely wild.
This is like the next Stanley mug, right?
Yeah.
Consumer capitalism gone amok, man. I have no idea. Yeah,
but like, and I'm sure there.
Thank you so much. Stop the stupidity. Thank you.
I'm hearing it.
5 gifted subs and the super chat. Thank you so much.
But people recognize that like I probably need to stand in line, and like, you know, probably something that's going off the rails if people are literally like, you know, crawling over themselves just get a tote bag. Right? I would say society is probably broken down as if you now need to draft rules, okay, of like, you need to stand like single file and like you have to like, you know, place stickers of like footsteps on the ground saying, hey, stand here, okay, and we're gonna move single file in our line. I don't know that that's like the greatest functioning society.
Yeah, no, I think we're broke. I think Trump broke us. I really do. The Constitution's broke right now. It will be forever until we fix it. Or I don't know. I think that is we either push down the road of fascism in the United States, or we try to fix this. And I don't know. I would say it's like 80% of the first option, 20% maybe like a hopeful future of trying to actually change and fix these problems, because they're so systemic now. You have to have the DOJ be outside of the executive branch. You have to have like some type of regulation where the Justice Department can actually enforce the presidency and enforce laws onto them, so that they can't just claim national defense and immunity on every decision that it's just I don't if the Democrats don't do anything to really push this and to rein this in, like all we're going to do is that we're going to wait until the next, I think it's Don Jr. I think Don Jr. is going to be the next, like the guy that comes in and takes it over. And
wouldn't surprise me.
So yeah, it's a very sad, sad day.
And I obviously agree with you based on what I said. Like, I agree that things are broken. But like that, and that's why, based off of what I said, of like, I'm not sure patching over the loopholes is the right approach. Not that I'm opposed to it, but I don't think it's going to work out all that great. And that's why I lean towards of like, well, if this is how you're, if you're going to elect a bad faith actor and let this bad faith actor, you know, run wild, okay, well, let's see when you have a Democrat in office and they are a bad faith, they're not the good faith actor that you expect. And like, yes, they find every trick in the book that your bad faith actor found, and they run their agenda. They run the same playbook. As in, once they see the consequences of their actions, maybe then.
I mean, we've already run through this, right? Like, with redistricting, right? Like, Republicans wanted to do this mid-century redistricting, which we don't do, right? We do it every 10 years during the census, but they're like, yeah, we're just gonna gerrymander the hell out of these districts. I'm like, okay, all right, well, we didn't want to do it. In fact, like blue states were like enacting laws for more fair districting, right? Like nonpartisan districting in each way. Like, yeah, we tried to like push that policy, tried to encourage it all over the country. But I guess we're going the other way. Well, then why should we unilaterally surrender, right? Well, okay, then we'll do it too. And it turns out, right, because Republican states were more gerrymandered than blue states. Blue states had a level of gerrymander, of course, right? But Republicans were already more gerrymandered. There's less juice to squeeze out of them, right? More juice to squeeze out of the blue states. And so, like, then they cried and cried, like, how is this fair? They said, amazing, right? Like, but like hypocrisy doesn't work, right? Like, you can't even like satirize these people. Like they the law is to protect them and use against you, right? Like it's a blanket for them and a weapon to use against you. And so when it's turned around against them, they're shocked. What? No, not me.
Jade, thank you for the super chat. Thank you. So in chat, the U.S. should take a page from Germany. They teach every school kid about the horrors that were committed in their name, and it's mandatory, including trips to death camps. They hide and whitewash nothing. But also, I mean, they're more extreme than what I'm even talking about. I'm just talking about removing like Trump as a figure that we teach about. They ban Nazi flags, and the Nazi party. So the question is, would you be okay with banning MAGA flags, banning the you know what I mean?
No, I'm not necessarily in favor of that. I would. To I don't know, to maybe give an example of how petty I'm willing to go. Of like, from what I understand, like Trump renamed the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America, right? By executive order.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if certain media establishments did not abide by that executive order, I think he threw out some media companies from the White House. I think he tried to enforce that. I think again, maybe as a sign of my pettiness or just me being childish, I think the next president, if they're Democratic, through executive order, they should rename it this is the Gulf of Trans Rights and force every right-wing media company to call it the Gulf of Trans Rights.
Should we ban MAGA, Prime?
No, I mean, I don't know. That seems foolish to me. I wouldn't you're saying take him out of the history books. I mean,
take his name out. We don't school shooters. We shouldn't, and I don't think that we should publish their names in the newspaper. We shouldn't aggrandize them. And the idea, the idea is that their names. If you do this and you try to be this authoritarian dictator in the United States, your name will be forgotten and you are nothing to us.
It won't be forgotten, right? All you're doing is doing a whole hidden knowledge type of thing, right? Oh, and people won't talk about them, right? And so it only attract more followers. And would you want Hitler to be hidden knowledge too? Would you say that his name should be stricken from the record?
But the Nazi Party's banned in Germany.
Yeah, and that's wrong. I don't like Germany's censorship, period, right? At all, right? Right now it's being used against people who are Palestinian protesters. Right now. So I don't know. I'm torn on that particular issue, whether the party itself should be banned and whatever, right? But even then, still, just like the commenter said, right? They teach about it, right? Even if the Nazi Party is banned, they confront it. I don't think they confront it very well in Germany, right? It sounds like they do, but from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, and especially their support of Israel supporting the genocide, I don't think they've actually learned their lesson, right? The Nazification went very poorly in Germany. Lots of those Nazis really just went back to their previous jobs. Some of them were lawyers, judges, professors, right? They just kind of went back to doing their previous thing. They, that was just it, right? So anyway, they did a poor job of the denazification. But even then, it would have been worse. It would have been certainly much worse if they hadn't talked about Hitler, right? In this great shame of theirs, right? That they'd be in a worse position. So yeah, I don't like this idea. We have to confront what Trump is. Everyone needs to learn from him, right? He needs to be like a Hitler, right? And just be taught and as a warning, don't do this.
I think the problem is
or even mocked or embarrassed. like that's why I think like just every like unflattering photo of him to just like be plastered, and
you don't have to do that. Like you just have to like print his words, right?
Yeah,
he says the dumbest things.
I mean,
right?
I think like they completely didn't they completely deconstruct Nazi Germany and like rewrite the Constitution and like I mean, I feel like without any type of reconstruction and really changing the blueprint of how this works, you're basically teaching people. You're basically teaching people like, hey, this is what you could do if you do this. It's crazy. Like Trump just claimed national security and national defense for all these reasons, and he was able to do all these executive actions. Isn't that wild? Like, I don't think that we literally like ban like the name Trump, right? Like go through and like they did with gay or something, in the government, like just literally ban it. I'm saying like you teach the problems of fascism, authoritarianism, racism, misogyny, all these things. And those are the lessons to learn, not like I fear just like putting him on a pedestal again.
Well, I understand I think in my mind, like just teach, like I'm obviously in favor of teaching everything that you just mentioned, but my concern is like without an actual concrete example, if you don't name the name, it's a little bit too abstract for people. If we're just leaving in the abstract, and you don't actually ground it in reality to the person, I think that runs the risk of you're not taking it as seriously as.
And then it's not even that. Like other people, it's not like you can even. This is crazy, right? This is nonsense. Like the information is out there. Trump will forevermore be there. You can't erase him, right? All you'll do is like leave kids like the next generation like unmoored, right? Without having a proper understanding of history. They're going to look into it themselves, right? And then other people are going to fill in the gaps, right? Oh, you've never heard about this guy, but like there was this cool dude named Donald Trump, right? And look at all the things that he did. I'll tell you what he did, right? I'll fill you in on those details. And you're not going to like what they're going to say to them. So like instead, like and more education to say that like this guy existed, right? This is how America's democracy failed, right? And what you were talking about, like basically the New York Reconstruction, well, that's a completely different policy objective, right? That's like that's actually addressing issues, structural issues. I'm in favor of that, right? I'm in favor of taking a look at our Constitution. It's clearly been failing us for multiple reasons, right? And trust me, I can rant about the reasons here. I gotta listen to them, right? But like that's different from saying, oh, we can't talk about like this. But the one of the biggest impetuses for changing, right? Like one of the biggest examples that we've seen for the failures of this document, right? Like we can't talk about it. Like it's crazy. And the only thing you can do, right, is just like discourage his discussion in school, but the information will be out there.
Yeah, I agree. We can't remove it from the history books for sure. I would remove the statues of him that exist in, figuratively and literally. I guess that's how I see it.
If there are actual statues, I'd be in favor of tearing them down.
Yeah, all the ballroom changes, all the the changes that he's doing, to, all those things. I would literally tear the buildings down. Take the names off the buildings. I don't care how much it would cost. I don't care if it costs $100 billion to change the White House. Like back to what it was, or actually reconstruct it. It could be. He has to be. I think that's part of the reconstruction.
I'd be in favor of demolishing his ballroom. Like it's fine for me. Like if he didn't wait for permission to do that, and so like we were saying before, oh okay, then I guess I don't need being a Democratic president. I don't need permission to demolish it, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to demolish it.
And if it's demolished, then I wouldn't be I wouldn't be against that. Probably largely in favor. I think it should be made like a spectacle, or like whoever's hopefully if it's a Democrat in the White House, they plan it as a celebration, and it takes place on their birthday. We're going to demolish this huge celebration, demolishing the ballroom. on my birthday.
Flag Day.
Yeah, exactly. The next flag, exactly.
The next Flag Day, we're burning it down. I love it.
And
okay.
then you have your drag race show on the White House lawn.
I love it. Let's do it. Okay. Next up, guys. People, incredibly, guys, it just keeps happening. The viruses exist, and when you don't vaccinate people and you keep them in close proximity to one another, viruses spread. This is brand new. Just in, scores fall ill at Air Force Base after Hegseth makes flu vaccines optional. The defense secretary described the vaccine requirement lifted in April as an absurd, overreaching mandate. A flu outbreak has sickened nearly 160 troops at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas less than 2 months after the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced that U.S. troops would no longer be required to be vaccinated for the flu, defense officials said. The outbreak at the base in San Antonio raced through the Air Force Base military training wing, where new recruits sleep on bunk beds in open bays and share meals at large communal tables. A trainee in his 6th week of basic training died after falling ill on Friday and being taken to the Brooke Army Medical Center, the Air Force said in a news release. It was not immediately clear whether the death of the trainee, Keon McDaniel, was related to the flu outbreak. So they're reviewing it right now. So, I mean, it's these troop readiness, isn't something that is like these grandiose speeches where Hegseth is like drum beating, the war drums and stuff in this nonsense, or going and saber rattling with countries and all that nonsense. Just it's basic things like this, and the idea that like vaccines are an overreach. Imagine that these people are literally about to be weapons of war, and a vaccine is too much for them. Absurd and overreach.
Yeah, and well, so it's based off of the article. Although I think the death is still being investigated, but it seems like there may be a death attributed to this policy or lack thereof, or the rescinding this backtrack on this policy, and in addition to like the lack of troop readiness, or I think this clearly like endangers the troops. Isn't this also just like wasteful spending as well? Of like these people require greater healthcare. I don't know. To me, that seems like not fraud, but that seems like wasteful spending. Of like these people didn't need this level of care, or like this level of care could have been almost certainly prevented 100%. And yet this just seems like a huge, giant waste of money. Well, just like the reflecting pool, huge, giant waste of money.
Yeah, exactly.
And do we get to categorize all of that as waste, fraud, and abuse? Should.
I know it is. It is. I mean, the idea that the increase in medical spending that's a good point, for sure. And people are literally losing their lives over it. The number's over 200 now. Wow. I mean, I'm not surprised. I guess it's a day later, so I guess this is out of date. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, how much of it is directly attributed to that? I don't know. I mean, the flu vaccine wasn't amazingly effective this year. The efficacy was lower than expected. So I guess like whether or not it's directly, I mean, you are decreasing the severity of symptoms with any type of flu vaccine. So whether or not it's a 100% match to the local outbreak strain, you're still like priming your immune system in order to deal with something like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I don't know, it just seems, well, I understand, like, I think the individuals that did not get vaccinated, I think are largely a victim, or at least I'm coming from a place of viewing them as victims of like, they just don't know any better, but rather if they do know better, but despite knowing better, they're choosing not to get the vaccine. Like, I don't know, that just seems like unpatriotic. Or like,
how do they get to decide? Like what is that? They get to which part of their days do they get to decide? And now all of a sudden on vaccines, they're like, hey, you get a choice here. Like, what did they get a choice on? What else in their life? Like as a soldier.
Well, yeah, because from what I understand, there's still like the policy of like it's mandatory to get like a measles vaccine. I think that's also highlighted in the article. Of, like,
yeah, exactly.
You can't opt out of every one. So like, it's you recognize that there's a clear risk, and now you're seeing that like almost like immediate consequences of backtracking on this policy. So it's like you not recognize that this policy was in place for probably almost certainly good reasons, and you're seeing it play out here. So it's like waste of money. Maybe potentially, hopefully, well, I mean, like, yeah, for sure, there is a person dead. Now, whether it's good or not, that if it's linked to the lack of vaccination, I don't know. But either way, yeah, I just view it as like, if you're signing up for the military, I assume there's some level of patriotism involved with that. But I'm sure there's multiple factors that go into, signing up to join the military. But it's like, yeah, if you're signing up with the intention of like defending the country and being proud of it, wouldn't you want to be like in the best health possible? Why would you ever want to have any sort of risk whatsoever of like, yeah, being sidelined by the flu seems just like really weak.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's obviously in order to boost morale due to the people that had to be discharged due to the thank you stop stupidity that got because of the COVID vaccine that all left because of that. I definitely feel like it's something where he's trying to say like, we want you back. We're not doing any of that wussy stuff anymore. Like this is, we're calling ourselves the War Department and we're all that kind of nonsense. So I think it's just this just like everything else, it's performative nonsense. But this stuff, when it comes to public health, it matters. People can like lose their life. It's actually a very important thing.
Yeah, no, and I'm hoping it stays contained. I think it was mentioned that it's up to now 200 people. I'm hoping it doesn't get larger than that. It wouldn't not surprise me if it does get larger than 200 people. But like, yeah. I'm curious. Well, I don't want any more people to lose their life. But like, if the body count starts stacking up, like at what point do you admit like you were wrong on this policy and like, hey, maybe we should go back to having this mandatory?
Yeah, exactly, man. I don't
like if this one person, if through investigation it is found that it was linked to them, or we can confidently conclude that if they were vaccinated, this almost certainly wouldn't have happened. Would that be motivation enough, or like you need 2 bodies, or 3, or 5, or 10?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's. I don't know. I think it's. There's so much wrong. Prime, do you have anything to say on this one? Any thoughts?
I mean, Les. Yeah, I mean, it's regular vaccine nonsense. Yeah. Get yourself vaccinated. Try to avoid these things. Yeah, like you guys were saying. Well, there are some vaccines that are still required. I mean, they one way or other, this is going to happen because like what they picked was because for political reasons, right? Not because they're trying to make some sort of like stance on these things altogether. I mean, like you said, being in close quarters, right? Like there are certain diseases that will really like put an army on its back, right? Like army camps throughout history have been like breeding grounds for diseases. We had vaccines that did a great job of like slowing that down or mitigating that, and still the military recognizes this, but for political reasons, they undermined some of those policies, right, to a certain extent. And even if it was a case that this is because of the flu, right? Because of that, like it's completely foreseeable. But whatever, it was also foreseeable that trying to go to war with Iran would be a complete disaster. But we did that any which way, so whatever.
I mean, Prime, you're making such a good point. I mean, the first public health campaign in the United States was literally by George Washington inoculating the Revolutionary War troops against smallpox. And that's one of the reasons why we were able to win against the British. Like, so that's what's so wild to me when people think that public health campaign is somehow anti-American. It's somehow anti-American to think about, you know, the health of well-being of someone else other than you. You know, and I would argue that even in the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How are you going to pursue happiness when you're diseased? How are you going to feel liberated if you feel
don't judge. Some people might find a state of happiness, you know, with the flu or measles or all the above. That might be, you know,
wallowing
the
in self-pity.
happiness. Yeah.
Maybe they're pro-viral. You know what I mean? They
exactly.
I want to be an inoculum. Yeah, exactly. The flu results in 45,000 to 50,000 deaths per year in the United States. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, real quick, this is pretty weird. It's a very weird one. This is a weird story. So Fauci funded Wuhan lab research that sparked COVID. So basically, this was something that Tulsi Gabbard made a X post video about, saying that they had released and found all this information that linked, you know, Fauci to this lab leak and nonsense that we know scientifically has never been shown. There is not a single piece of scientific evidence that's ever shown that SARS-CoV-2 came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. We have literally dozens of publications now that show that it came from bats and coronaviruses in bat caves all throughout China, and we can show population genetics and where it came from. It's so, and we have stall by stall evidence, and they sampled the drains.
Pretty good forensic evidence.
Yeah, I mean it's and they didn't even have anything that was related to SARS-CoV-2 in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. I mean, it's just nonsense. But here's the press release, guys, and this is the problem: is that, and you had this during the time of when it was actually happening. You had the Republican House releasing House reports that, if you actually read them, had no scientific basis whatsoever. It was just basically Slack and email messages of like Fauci, and that was somehow supposed to be scientific. I thought it was like an absolute joke, but here it is. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Anthony Fauci, as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, provided millions of U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, work which is now widely viewed as the source of the unintentional lab leak that sparked the COVID pandemic. Obviously, this is not true. What's wild is that there was a whitehouse.gov page on COVID outlining what it is, like what was happening. They forwarded it to a conspiracy website that's on whitehouse.gov showing that the source was a lab leak. Of course, that's not true, a conspiracy, but a loss since it's on whitehouse.gov. People believe it. Again, here's from the release. Today, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is releasing never-before-seen communications and documents exposing how Anthony Fauci worked with politicized career leadership in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions, the virus's lab leak origins, and his role in directing U.S. funding to his dangerous research that caused immeasurable harm and countless lives lost. And I guess my point has always been in this stuff. It doesn't matter if, and look at all these, they're just emails, guys. I mean, we're looking at it right now. It's just emails upon emails. It doesn't matter if, oh my gosh, look at all these redactions. Everything is redacted.
Yeah, no, I started going like
everything.
I haven't gone through everything, but like each of, I think there was like 5 links to, you know, documents, and like each one is like 100 pages. And like, yeah, it's just like a flood of information, and like there's a lot of redactions. But like everything that I have browsed through, there's definitely nothing incriminating there.
Yeah,
they're just.
Oh, here we go. Here's RFK's email, just randomly. RFK and Children's Health Defense Call, which is like a Children's Health Defense, which is an anti-vaccine thing that he ran for congressional investigations into COVID origins. So it's just that he was calling for it somehow is okay, or shown to be proof. Again, like it doesn't matter if there was an email of Anthony Fauci saying, I did it, guys. It was me. I did the lab leak myself. It doesn't matter. There is a fact of the matter, right? There is a truth out there, and we should be able to, through science, independent investigative journalism, and fact-finding missions, and through the scientific method, we should all be able to create a body of evidence that exists outside of these email chains to show that this virus came from this lab, and it just doesn't exist. That's the thing. And that's what's so frustrating about this, is that people will link this as somehow a evidence, and it doesn't matter, guys. People lie. And Fauci didn't lie, but I'm just saying that they could release things out of context. They could, and a lot of times, Corey, you know this. I mean, scientists are very incredulous on the evidence that they say, and they say that it supports. So if you say that your protein, if we're working on like a protein and you're in it, it says it has increased binding affinity or something like that, I'm going to say, why do you think that it has this binding affinity? What's the mechanism?
To back that up? I
exactly.
can talk all day about binding affinity.
Yes.
And if you're using computational data to back that up, I'm never gonna trust binding.
Yeah.
Data
But it could be that the binding affinity is higher, but you are in good faith saying that I don't trust this, and this is how I would trust this. But the thing is, and guess what? That email talking and highlighting you giving these lists of tests is taken out of context by non-scientists and saying, "Oh my gosh, look at that." Greg was saying that Corey's protein doesn't have the right data, and in reality, we are just creating better. That's the peer review process. That's how this stuff works. That's how science is so strong.
Yeah, and that's why, it's a difficult conversation or problem to solve because, as mentioned, even. I think in Tulsi Gabbard's whatever tweet, and like there's this, and I think as you brought up, it's like they're incriminating Fauci for a number of things, but also like he would ever approve the funding for the gain of function research, and like so there's a lot of claims to fact check,
exactly.
Like was there actual funding, what was the level of funding, and like was it gain of function, and like that's where I think a lot of misunderstanding, because like that phrase and term gets thrown around a lot by people not truly understanding what that means, or like, or not recognizing that there's no universal accepted definition of gain of function. And like many things, if we're using like some strict definition, like just about, you almost like would ban just about any amount of research.
Yeah.
Like gain of function is not necessarily reserved for just viruses and viruses alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you could say that I think that there's like the molecular biology term of like, and then there's the colloquial common parlance like term. Gain of function is just kind of like my anti-cancer algae that we're targeting non-Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 1 cells. Like those are gaining that function in order to attack those things. That is creating that immunotoxin that's latching onto that cell, and that's gaining that function that didn't exist before, right? But what happens here in the viral labs is that they are, and this is like what more molecular biology based term is, basically how does these mutations create changes in what this viral particle can do in terms of latching, changing its aerosolization, its affinity,
binding
affinity, like we were talking about. Exactly. So all these cornucopia of changes, and how are these single nucleotide changes gaining that function of that second order impact. So that's what this research is, and that's why it's so important. Actually, it's really important for us to know what's going on, how it's, and we know that from like hantavirus, right? That we understand how hantavirus works, so we can see, hey, this doesn't have pandemic potential, guys. It's okay. Ebola or something like that. Like how we can understand these mutations better better allows epidemiologists to track population genetics, virologists to understand what to look out for, like in specifically what's happening. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The idea that the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease is the one that's like the huge funder of, you know, worldwide research in virology. Like that just doesn't, that's not how it works. That isn't where the massive pools of money come from. It's not signed by like Fauci himself, and he's not linked to it, but they're just incredulously like trying to link them.
Yeah, and also going back to this aspect of gain of function, like, and here's where it's like it's a difficult conversation to have, because like understandably, people outside of molecular biologists or, you know, life scientists don't quite understand what that term means in a more technical sense. Where I don't know if you remember, when there was like whatever, when I think Rand Paul was like interrogating Dr. Fauci and like, you know, waving a paper of like, oh, here's the proof that you funded gain of function research. And it's in this paper, and it's trying to like cite this paper. And like, if you actually look at that, and I'm curious, is like, so if you want to ban gain of function research, okay, well, you should understand what the implications of that, like, to me, there's consequences to that. And it's like, and also like the paper, okay, the paper that Rand Paul was like citing or using to like, you know, incriminate Dr. Fauci, or like trying to prove that he funded or was involved in funding gain of function research. Like that was a paper on like finding the origins of, I think, SARS-CoV-1, or the original SARS. And it's like, well, what if you need to carry out gain of function research to find out the origins of a virus? Would you be in favor of that? As in like, what if you need to carry out gain of function research to find out the origins of SARS-CoV-2? Would you say, well, we can't carry out that research, so then we should not find out or go down that road?
Yeah.
But there's like, I understand, and there's a point to be made of like, there are risks to this type of research depending on how you actually carry out, because not all, like it's a totally low resolution term of like a gain of function. As in, what if the gain of function is like it more easily dies or is less transmissible? That is a gain of function.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And so all that to say is like, there's a conversation to be had, but I don't think you can have it.
They did a viral evolution study of lab strains of the, oh, thank you, Stop the Stupidity. They did a viral evolution study with basically comparing how these viral genomes evolve inside of a lab environment versus outside in an environment. And obviously that there was, you know, obviously SARS-CoV-2 matched the rate of evolution that would be seen in a natural zoonotic spillover event. But they did find, which was really interesting, that they did find there was some outbreak in like 1970s of like some type of flu that they was supposedly was connected to. It wasn't like a pandemic, but it was an outbreak virus of something that did happen in the lab. So it was a good like a proof positive that, you know, it is possible in order to see. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But all that said, like, well, because I think even RFK Jr. himself like retweeted Tulsi Gabbard's tweet, and like they're framing Dr. Fauci as a criminal.
Exactly.
Like, well, if he's a criminal, and I think they're almost like explicitly linking him to like more or less like he's responsible for all the deaths that took place during the pandemic.
Yeah. As if Trump wasn't the president and had more to do.
True.
That's the craziest thing to me, because you talk to a lot of these MAGA people, and when I debate them, I ask this. I'm like, who is president? And they're like, yeah, but who was really running the show? It wasn't Trump. It wasn't Trump that was doing it. It was Fauci. He was under
a helpless babe,
right? You know, because Prime. Trump is normally in the background of things. He doesn't go forward, and he doesn't put his face on everything. He works in the background.
Fauci, right, who's like, was it 5'6" or something, came into the White House and beat him up.
And I think at the time he's like, 78 or 80 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, they're both geriatrics, but like,
exactly.
it's interesting that how, like, I mean, some people will say that Biden was in charge. They really have edited their. It's amazing. They've edited their memories, right? No, like something bad. I associate something bad happening, and so it must have been Biden in charge. Like unbelievable. Like or even like like the development of the of the vaccine, right? And was it the Operation Warp Speed? It's like what, like you guys hate the vaccination, right? But like President Trump was the one who was like touting how under his leadership they managed to create this well, they managed to put the finishing touches on a vaccine that had been like worked on for like a long time. The technology has been worked on for a long time, but still, right? Like they managed to like get this out to address this novel virus, and that was a big thing that they were uh, you know advertising. And then until I guess Margot doesn't like it. Okay, well actually we had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, never mind. Never mind. Wait. Yeah, exactly. You guys wait. You like it? Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, but whatever.
But speaking of bullying, guys, we shouldn't bully Trump. Okay, it's not nice of us. We got because RFK Jr. is under fire for bullying letters to a scientific journal. He does this a lot. There was that study in Denmark that was the biggest of all time in the idea of basically it was 1.5 million kids over 25 years looking at neural development in response to different types of adjuvants in vaccines, and basically saying that aluminum and all the different things that are in vaccines are safe because they tested the entire vaccine schedule all together. So all the caveats they always put in everything. He hated it so much. He tried to get it retracted, and he was trying to bully one of the journals in order to get it retracted. So he kind of continues here. Health advocate criticized Kennedy's move, demanding answers from the journal that removed the flawed vaccine study. So basically, RFK Jr. is demanding answers from a medical journal that recently removed a paper suggesting a link between vaccines and infant death, saying their decision was of great interest to me, end quote. Public health advocates immediately criticized the move and said Kennedy appeared to be trying to intimidate and influence the journal's editorial process. The journal Toxicology Reports had removed the paper this spring after editors determined it is so seriously flawed it could harm patients and pose a risk to public health. The letter, which Kennedy on Monday posted on X, asked the journal editor to answer questions about how it arrived at its decision about the paper, which suggested a link between vaccines and sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, by June 25th. Among its questions, Kennedy asked the journal to identify the experts who conducted the investigations into the paper. Quote, if he is trying to use his position to bully a journal, he is stepping close to violating the First Amendment rights, end quote. Dorrit Reese, an expert in vaccine law at UC Law San Francisco, wrote in a reply. So it's, go ahead, Corey.
I was going to say, like, I mean, I'm glad it's the study was retracted.
Exactly.
I think there's a conversation to be had because, like,
how to get there?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly was my next question of like, there's a conversation to be had of like, how did this pass peer review and how was this published to begin with? Mm-hmm. Like, not that I like. I think at the end of the day, like, Elsevier is like a valid journal conglomerate, although my view of them like just degrades over time, or like
so true,
or my so true towards them degrades over time. But that holds true just about for every conglomerate of journals. But like Elsevier seems to be like really taking a nosedive over the years, in my opinion. But like, yeah, I'm glad it's retracted. But the fact that it had to be retracted and it was published, like it allows RFK Jr. to more or less like, sort of get an optical win for whatever his audience of like, oh, they're censoring this study because they don't want the truth to be out there. Mm-hmm. And I don't want him to have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think it's just completely... Exactly right. How is this getting out there? What in Elsevier? It's really funny that you're saying that. Obviously, it's like very inside baseball scientists, and
I don't expect
the UC system is like very adversarial to the Elsevier. They're very tough, and famously, UC actually stopped funding their library subscription to Elsevier, which caused an entire thing to happen.
Good. I mean, they were legit. I guess they still are legit, but like I don't know what happened. Maybe I just haven't looked into it, but like I used to actually respect them, whatever, 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, yeah, exactly, man. Like what? But hey, I guess give them the chance to remove it. But there you go. I love Gorski, who's always been. Gorski's been one of the physicians that's always been involved with this anti-vaccine stuff and really pushing back on X and Science Twitter back in the day. Dr. David Gorski, a surgical oncologist who has written extensively about the anti-vaccine movement, pointed out in a post that Kennedy has portrayed himself as pro-free speech and that he was apparently using the power of his position to put pressure on an editorial decision by a private publisher. To anti-vaxxers, it's free speech for me, but not for thee. I love that. So, and it happens every single time. Like RFK uses his power, his position in the government in order to try to get any publication retracted that he doesn't like, without producing any actual research himself in regards to this, any new studies or any.
And he now has the resources to carry out a study.
He does, and the problem is like now, especially with the stuff that's going on. We have the McCullough Institute, which now they're having this problem, right? And they're basically saying, well, if you're not going to be our publication, source, you're going to bully us, make us prove things. We're going to make our own publication. So McCullough, which is the disgraced medical doctor that had his license removed, going around.
Yeah, I think he was like a cardiac surgeon at one point. Or
yeah, he got his license removed because he was going around during COVID with nothing but a PowerPoint telling people that people were losing their life because of the COVID vaccine, which is completely wrong.
I remember.
And so it was complete misinformation. And so now he, again, failing upward, now he's the king of his entire publication. He's the editorial discretion, and they're going to be able to put out disinformation on these in this lab, in this publication. And you saw it everywhere, right? Where just a DOI number on a preprint server was enough in order to get people to think this is amazing, this is good, this is what I want, because it looks official. It has an abstract. They don't know it's on a preprint server. They don't know it hasn't been peer reviewed. And then now it's going to look even better. It's going to have a nice PDF. There's going to be there's good figures to it. So the disinformation is getting harder and harder to go through, when McCullough is creating this stuff now. And the problem is that you have people like the Americans for, it was like Doctors for American Liberty or something. They're going through and they were all MDs that were like pushing this nonsense during the pandemic, the heart of the pandemic. And one of them, the head of the organization actually went to jail. I forget why, but it was, yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah, it's tough. I occasionally, come across on my Twitter feed of like, the Peter McCullough's journal, or like someone were tweeted or like, oh, published in Peter McCullough's journal. I can't remember the name. I think it isn't something along the lines of like whatever basically the Peter McCullough journal, or like isn't his name?
It's McCullough Institute or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know, how is that not a red flag right off the bat? Anyways, I don't know what other journal is like named after a person, but I see people retweeting out like the publications for the McCullough Institute saying, oh, now new publication now proven, all the stuff all the conspiracy theories. But like, yes, as you correctly said, like this gives the air of legitimacy and like a nice publication with nice figures. And so people will view it. There's some people that will view it like, oh, this must be legit. This must have gone through some sort of like rigorous analysis, when it clearly did not. We just, peel back the surface a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I guess I
Exactly.
would agree with you. Yeah, that's like the point. It's just, you know, how we interact with information in general. In this case, more specifically, science communication. Like, I don't know, man. Like for instance, you guys were talking about like the Gano research stuff, and the Wuhan lab thing, but I, was quiet because like I mean, I don't have the expertise to parse any of
Fair.
that, right? I would have to rely on people like you who had more experience within this field, who can tell me like what we're looking at, what documents are important, how people communicate in the field. I thought that was really interesting what you guys were saying there, right? Uh, like I certainly wouldn't have that insight into like, oh, this type of banter, right, isn't anything alarming or incriminating or anything like that. Like obviously, I can't have that insight. And so when we're talking about like um this McCullough Institute, right? Like, all right, well, what we've done is we trained the public to say like, okay, well, things have to get peer reviewed, right? Like, experiments or whatnot, right? Have to get peer reviewed, and then they're published in a quote unquote peer reviewed journal, and then that is your font of knowledge. Okay, well, we tell people that, then you can just create a journal and put whatever you want in there, and people will take that. Okay, this is our knowledge base, right? And why shouldn't I? I mean, like this is in a journal too. Like people don't know like which journals are real or which ones should be taken seriously, and even like the quote unquote good journals have not covered themselves in glory, right? We've had a lot of retractions of important studies that have been, even in the ones we could all agree is overall reputable, but still when these things happen, they undermine the whole system. But if that's the system, then yeah, just like create your own and put whatever in there. And again, how we interact with these things is that either we read these things in an article, right, or somehow like a podcast or something will bring it up, or whatever, right? And then we like share it, like, okay, this person who presumably has looked into this has analyzed it, and they're saying that this data, right, this paper within this journal is legit, and it proves this point, and that's how interactive it is. Then I'll just share it with everyone else, right? And so like, yeah, I don't know how to solve this issue. I don't know like what there is to do, like, because just as people who are lay individuals who don't have any idea, like in the end, like other people do the same thing, right? Like this, like again, according to you guys, McCullough Institute is not something that's trustworthy. I never heard of this guy before, right? But it's not trustworthy. But for all those other news, sorry, journal entries, right? Like we don't. The average person doesn't spend their time like going through that paper and then checking it to see like, oh, this makes sense, even understanding it. They get it all the same way. So like I don't like, even if it's a legitimate study, like spreading legitimate knowledge, it's still the same problem. So I have no idea how to solve this.
It's tough, man.
No,
even
you bring up
go for it.
a great point. I'll just be very quick. Where everything that you brought up is true, and like it's even it's getting more and more increasingly difficult to sift through of like what's let's say the correct, or let's say valid or accurate information versus not, because like yes, let's say I'm sure probably Prime, even you intuitively or would have intuitive sense of like, if you came across like a paper from the McCullough Institute, you probably would have almost from like right off the bat, an air of skepticism, like something seems off here. But like as me and Greg sort of alluded to, of like there are now let's say quote unquote legitimate journals that like seem to be degrading like Elsevier. Like again, 10-15 years ago, someone cited a paper from one of the journals from Elsevier, I would take it seriously. Like now I don't. Or like there's a huge asterisk of like, I need to do some due diligence here. Like this is actually legitimate. And same thing with like, it's as in like even let's say the quote unquote legitimate or actual what are usually typically well-respected journals are no longer like let's say rigorous and should not be taken seriously. And I don't expect the general public to like keep track of that or like I understand why they wouldn't, because like I would not expect any non-scientist to be aware of like, yeah, Elsevier, I would say in the trash now, in addition to, in my opinion, like MDPI and Frontiers as well. But that's just like, I guess, my opinion. But I'm always like, I used to take, at least I was always pretty skeptical about MDPI. But now I think my skepticism has more or less been proven true. But like before I was actually taking them somewhat seriously, but now it's like, there's no reason to take them, in my opinion. But all that to say is like, I don't expect the general public to be aware of like a paper from one of the journals from MDPI, almost certainly not good, or you should be very careful in citing them. Same thing with Frontier, same thing with Elsevier. And so it's like, yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know how to solve this problem, but I see that it's an ever increasing problem.
I mean, the Lancet published the Wakefield study in the 90s. That was like, so it's like, and the problem is that it's always this,
and it took a while to get retracted.
Exactly. It's a chink. The problem is it's a chink in the armor of accountability. And I was talking to someone today, where it was, there was someone, Fauci made questionable statements at the very beginning of the pandemic talking about the effectiveness of masks because he felt that there was going to be a huge run on masks and healthcare officials needed them. So they had USPS, like they were going to mail everyone a mask, and Trump canceled that, which is wild. And then two, he Fauci went around and he had 60 minutes. It was like an after the interview 60 minutes clip that was on the internet, and it went around the anti-vax circles because he was saying that masks were ineffective if you had viral particles on your hand and you touched your face anyway, putting a mask on. So unless you're being clean anyway, you're probably you're gonna get yourself sick. So they're probably not that effective right now. So it's like it. And basically that's quote mined in this guy's head now forever. Now science can't be trusted, and he didn't get a vaccine because of it. And which was like the vaccine didn't come out for like a year after that statement that Fauci made. So and in terms of like personally, how I as a scientist understand this stuff is like there's a volume, right? There's a volume thing. You can have one study that says something, but outlandish evidence, grandiose claims require a grand amount of data, right? And one study doesn't mean a consensus, but there's like a huge body of publications and consensus that like these mRNA vaccines, not just are they the future for medications and anti-cancer drugs, but the unintended consequences is that they have they're protecting you from cardio problems. They're protecting your heart. They're people that had cancers are actually living longer with cancers because it boosts your immune system, and it makes tumors more susceptible to anti-tumor medications. So we're actually finding that they're having unintended side effects on the side of protecting your health, protecting your heart, protecting protecting your health in general. So it's the other way. It's the other side of all this stuff, and but that's just what we're faced with, as science communicators trying to say like there's a big difference between what Anthony Fauci says on 60 Minutes that gets spammed a million times on social media versus all the studies that are done that you don't even see on social media, but because people don't see it in their algorithms, it doesn't exist. It's very frustrating, but I know it's late, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming. That was a really great night. I appreciate you guys. That was awesome. Do you want to go with the outros? If you want to add anything else to say, go ahead. Let's just let you whatever you want to say.
The last thing that I'll say is like, as like a pin in like the fact that the ever increasing problem. Another problem that I want to highlight, maybe we can talk about in the future of like, from what I can tell, the rise of AI generated content, especially even now in like what are typically considered, generally good YouTube communicators. Like they appear to now be using ever increasing AI generated images that are just of like really poor quality. Of like, did you want to show molecular structure, but like it's clearly like just not the correct molecular structure because it's AI generated. As in like there's a specific video that I came across by Rena Malik. I don't know if you know Rena Malik. But she's an OBG, I believe an OBGYN. And like generally, a successful science communicator and generally considered a valid source of medical information. But like there was a couple of videos of like they just used an AI generated image and trying to show like, I think it was like the molecular structure of like estrogen or testosterone because they're talking about hormones. And I was like, clearly off.
Dude, I found there was people like some related streams on my YouTube, literally 45 million subscribers, and every day they put out a 3-hour video and like 10 30-minute videos, completely AI generated, all by this one app or website that they're basically like selling. It's like a selling ad, and they get like 50,000 views a day on their stuff. And I'm just like, and it's talking about like scientific stuff, like scientific studies, the history of this, the history of volcanoes, the history of plutonium or whatever. And you're like, well, who's gonna like watch this? This is wild. But I have no idea.
But people like the slop. I don't know.
I don't get it.
And it's not. I don't think it's good.
I don't even think it's either good either, man. I don't know. And I do use AI for my like thumbnails and stuff because I don't know what to do. I don't know. It's very tough, dude. People say they don't like AI.
A thumbnail is different than
falsifying data. False. And we already had.
Or like just showing a bad molecular structure.
Yes,
like not accurate at all.
We already had the Photoshop scandal was Alzheimer's research. Or was it? Yeah, it was Alzheimer's research, right? They were faking Western blot data by copying and pasting bands that didn't exist, and they were copying and pasting them on the. So decades of Alzheimer's research was erroneously pointed in a wrong direction because researchers were falsifying data. That's legitimately a gigantic problem. Huh? Yeah. Anyway, sorry that we could go forever on this. Thank you, Prime and Corey. Again, you're amazing. I got another super chat. Thank you, Prime and Corey, for always participating. You guys are always great to talk to, and I really look forward to these chats.
Yeah. Thank you for the kind.
Find me on Twitch, YouTube, Kick, also. Prime Kai, PRIMECAYES. We do debates. It's a lot of fun. Come check it out. And yeah, it was enjoyable.
Yeah, the Riveries on Monday nights, right, Prime? What time is it?
8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. Right.
And you can find me on Twitch, CoreyCam84, Twitter, X, YouTube, Instagram, Substack, TikTok, and despite everything I just listed, not Kick. I guess I should get on Kick.
Dang.
At It's Corey Campbell. And yeah, as always, this has been great. And look forward to next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Imagine not being on Kick. I mean, that's
jeez.
Thanks,
guys. See you guys. Oh man. Oh, I love those guys. That was so fun. Dude, thank you so much. Stop the stupidity. Thank you, man. You're so kind. I really appreciate you. Wow, guys. I mean, this is two TikTok bans in a week. I'm so frustrated. Like I wasn't even I didn't even do bad TikTok language. That's what I genuinely don't understand. If we were getting all spicy or something, I would be like, oh, okay. But like, what was the big thing? What was the thing that made it? I don't get it. F-on is Steph. I think Hazel is Linda. I think you guys can change your channel names and change your YouTube if you wanted to. You could make it whatever you wanted. Just letting you know if you wanted to have it match whatever. I wish I could change it and you could like have per channel names or something, but that is what it is. Oh, thank you guys so much. I did not see this. I'm so sorry, Rush. Have you seen the discussion that Robert Sapolsky had about the validity of the Kennedy Tylenol controversy struggle of women? It's kind of cool. No, I haven't, Rush. I need to look at that. Thank you so much, guys. It seriously means so much to me. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Really, really appreciate you. It breaks my heart, man. You know what I mean? Like, it breaks my heart to have, yeah. I don't know what to do considering like my, yeah, I don't know. I'm a really, I don't know what to say. Really frustrating that I'm not really doing anything wrong. I'm just getting these weird, I was like reading, the problem is like with the TikTok ban, you don't really know what you're getting banned for. It just happens and you don't know like, okay, was it the last sentence? Was it the last 10 minutes? Was it the last, how far away was it? I don't have any idea to say. So, yeah. I was literally reading the New York Times as I was doing it. Like, how could I, you know what I mean? Like, what was I doing there? That was wild. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Justin at Deconstruction Zone. Yeah, I'm gonna email the Deconstruction Zone to try to like do some content with them. Like, they've a bunch of people have like reached out to me to talk to them, and yeah, I definitely want to. And I talked to one of their producers, so they want to do some stuff with me too. So that would be awesome. I would be totally down. It'd be a good time. That would be sweet. Why can't we have nice things, y'all? Yeah, that's the problem with me. Yeah, Rush. Yeah, exactly. So that was the thing that I don't. What can I do in terms of like doing DZ content? Exactly. But yeah. Did you see my comment about the Disney live streams being violations? Yeah, Pride Night last night. It really. Yeah, Heather's. I mean that. Exactly. I think it's like, I don't know. For me, a lot of the content moderation didn't actually change once the China and to U.S. handover like happened. I actually it didn't drastically change for me, but a lot of people did have drastic changes. I'm getting hit more right now for some reason than anything else, which is odd to me. I don't understand why. So that's my frustration. So yes, very frustrated.
Incoherence in that.
Mm-hmm. Very frustrated. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it because it makes me not want to, it shouldn't be like this. Like there's just no way, there's no reason. Okay. I want to watch the Michelle Obama speech. Oh my gosh, 21 minutes. I don't know if I don't know.
Wow. Hello, everyone. And
I want to like it too, Heather. I want to like it too. I'm not a hater of the Obamas, but I am very frustrated with them. So you'll have to deal with me. Okay. You'll have to deal with me if I'm frustrated. Okay. All right. You have to deal with me. Especially like after being shoved back into politics, like with the UFC event, is just kind of wild for her. You know, I can only imagine just like a lot of frustration. I haven't watched it. I can't say I like it or not yet. Okay. Okay, wait. So who was first? Wait, who was first? So should I watch Barack Obama's speech first, or Michelle Obama's speech first? Which one? You have to know the context of the beginning of Barack's speech. Oh, okay. Michelle spoke first, so I should watch Michelle's first. Is that what's going on? Heather, I like it. Oh, okay. I didn't know that he made one. Okay. So frustrating, guys. So frustrating. Me, who needs context? Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Let's do it. Okay, chat. Okay. Nice. I like this. We're getting this set up. We're doing this. Man. Why does TikTok hate me? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? I didn't. I don't want to ruin the moment, but it just hits harder knowing that she wouldn't share the notes with him because she wanted it to be a surprise. Okay, gotcha.
Wow. Hello, everyone. And
okay, sorry, 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right, we're going to react to Michelle Obama's speech at the presidential opening.
Wow. Hello, everyone. And what a beautiful day, right? Nothing like a project by my husband to bring out the sun. Let me start by thanking Addison for that magnificent introduction and for exemplifying the heart, excellence, and determination that has blossomed right here on the South Side for a very long time. I also want to send some love to everyone who made this day a reality. The construction workers, landscapers, designers, the architects, artists, chefs, our staff, our board members, our donors. Barack and I...
The big donors. There it is. Got him. We got him, guys. There it is. We got him.
simply cannot thank you enough for the care and brilliance you've poured into every square inch of this campus. I also want to recognize all of the elected officials and distinguished leaders from around the city, the state, the country, and yes, the world. Thank you for being here to celebrate with us, especially to all of my fellow formers, to Joe and Jill.
The building looked a little weird. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Dude, I hate that all these people are behind bulletproof glass now. I don't hate that they're safe. I hate the idea that our cultural moment like exists so that they can't even feel safe without being behind bulletproof glass. You know what I mean? And the mic quality is so bad. It sounds awful that they are the mic it sounds so bad. They have yeah, it's really embarrassing, I feel like.
George.
See the echo, just like the echo. I know it's really pity, but yeah.
And Laura. Bill and Hillary. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
George W. Bush and Michelle Obama have like not like they just like sit next to each other a lot at these events, and they kind of have a friendly relationship. So that's what she's alluding to there.
Your service to our country over so many years. And for your constant friendship and support of our family. We love you guys, truly. Oh, to our
she looks awful.
daughters, Malia and Sasha, who will...
Yeah, they're so big. I know people that's like something, I mean, they're just like watching them grow up. Isn't that crazy? Like to think about like having your teenage years being in the White House. Like that's wild.
Will always be my babies. Even though we're no longer playing hide and seek on
Look at that. Look at that. Hide and go seek on the South Lawn. Look at that. So it wasn't their teenage years. It was like their formative like elementary school years. That's wild, dude.
On with Bo.
Wow.
Or hosting sleepovers in the solarium. I see a lot of some sleepover girls here. You both have grown into such brilliant and beautiful young women, making your way out there in the world. Thank you for bringing so much joy and spirit and energy to a life you had no
they're littles,
voice
exactly.
in choosing, and for making us proud every step of the way. Love you, babe. Oh, so please indulge me for a moment, because I'm gonna take a little time to do something that I know my husband will not do today, and that is to fully sing his praises.
Oh God.
Barack, you gotta look at me. You told me all those years ago that you couldn't promise me the world, but you could promise me an interesting life. And of course,
it is nice that like you can tell that they actually have like a loving relationship, and they actually have like a marriage that they love each other, you know? I mean, how different is the love that they have compared to Trump and the disgust that Melania has for Trump. Like, she just cannot stand the man, you know? I mean, it is it's cute, you know? They have it's a true partnership. Yeah, exactly.
you outdid yourself and managed to give me both. I know it hasn't always been easy, but there hasn't been a single second through this experience that standing by your side hasn't left me in awe. 8 years in the crucible, and not once did you melt from the heat. Not once did you let it harden you. Instead, you used it to reveal your truest essence. Your stubborn optimism, and unflinching courage, your dazzling brilliance and unpretentious decency, your ferocious work ethic, and absolutely unshakable moral fiber. And to do it all as a first, and the higher standard that comes with all that, the claims that a U.S. senator and constitutional law expert wasn't qualified for the job, the lies about your birthright, your faith.
Alluding to Trump here, you know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what he was so young. I'm not hating. It's just like, she's right. You know, it was, and I'm thinking about, like, he was only 2 years in the Senate before he went and ran for president. And I was like so proud of that at the time, you know, and I think it's something that's remarkable. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there is like a kind of thing where you're outside of the throes of the presidency. You're outside of the harsh reality of you know, institutional politics, and you have the naiveness of youth. But, you know, I don't know. The fact that he never did rise, you know, he was unshakable, but also he never rose to the moment, I feel like.
Your patriotism, the outrage when you stated the biological fact that if you'd had a son, that he too would be black.
Yeah, that was a really powerful moment. The Trayvon Marvin. No, I haven't. Trayvon Martin saying that, like, he would have, you know, looked like my son. You know, like, really, like, you know, pointing out that it's like the unquestionable and it, you know, it doesn't matter where you come from, how much wealth you have in America. If you're black, you're always going to have that. You know, that's what he's pointing out there at that moment, and it was powerful. You know, and those are the type of things where you genuinely really can see. You can, you know, really see the power of having someone that's the power of, in politics, of having someone that you can see yourself with, you know, that you know, and having girls myself, you know, having when, you know, Kamala Harris was running, you know, like, my girls did make comments about her, that she was a girl just like her, you know. So, you know, you know, there's huge, you know, impacts in that, and you can, you make a difference in how little kids see themselves and where they see themselves. Absolutely.
Yet you were unflappable at every turn, always focused.
You should have been flapped.
Always calm.
But you should have been flapped. You shouldn't have been always calm.
How absurd it is to even imagine.
Like, I'm sorry, but, like, being calm the entire time, it would have been good. Calmness is good when you are unshakable, but then also unmoored, right? You have to be unshakable and like relentless, right? But he allowed them. Obama allowed the Republicans to win by getting him out of politics. Like, they pushed him out. They did win. Like, so they got the best of him. And it kills me to say that. It's really sad, but, like, you know, like, I don't know. Would he still have been in the press and as an American influence from 2016 to 2026 if Obama wasn't bullied by the Republicans? Probably. You know, Michelle Obama probably wouldn't have said like, "Hey, I'm done with the politics. This is awful. This isn't a productive place. Let's get out of here." Do you really think that she would have said that if that didn't happen? So they won. So they did win. So he was flapped. He got flapped.
That you might have buckled under the pressure even once.
He did buckle, though.
Lashed out in frustration. Lost your temper.
How could you not lose your temper with the rise of fascism in the United States? Like, this is what kills me. Like, this approach to politics means that you just allow people to walk over you. I understand, like, let someone make a fool. My view of politics is like, let someone make a fool out of themselves, right? And when I go on panels, when I go into places, you know, with adversarial places, I start off as we're cool, we're collected. But as soon as someone poisons the well, what am I just going to continue drinking the well water and poisoning myself? Like, no, dude. Like, you got to rise to that moment. You can't just be like, well, you know, okay. You know, no, dude. Like, what is going to flap you back? Like, what is going to make you like fight back?
Help.
If Obama had showed anger, frustration, it would have become about race. But Linda, it already was. Thank you, F-on. But it already was about race. It was never not about race. You know? Like that's the thing, is that it already was that. You should be fighting, not letting them roll over you, especially in politics. Exactly. Like, you have to fight for something. Like Obama's populism, like, Obama has a pluralism in his politics about how we can together be more than individuals. If we come together, we can fix the world. He has a pluralistic view of politics. Trump is a populist. There is a bad guy, and we are fighting them. Like, his view of politics when he absconded from politics and in the United States and basically stopped being a cultural leader, pluralism died. Pluralism died in the United States. There is no big tent party of the United States anymore. There are people, I mean, like myself, where I am trying to, you know, with Science and Freedom for Everyone, we are trying to make, you know, a pluralistic nonprofit where people can come together and try to improve things, and, you know, trying to create that jut forward. You know, I very much agree with Obama's style of politics, and that, you know, being kind to people is good, and making someone look a fool of themselves makes them look like a fool. But at some time, you gotta fight, man. You gotta fight at some point. Heather, the TikTok debate space has made the old political debates on our TVs look so lame and stupid. True. I mean, but also the political debates with the president of the United States looks asinine now. I mean, how they are, you know, Trump is literally talking about conspiracies that he read on Twitter that day in order to sway American politics during a debate, a presidential debate. It is the way you fight back. Absolutely. But that's what I'm saying, Linda. Like, you have to fight back. And Michelle Obama is saying, you didn't fight back once. Like, you didn't move. I I just don't agree with this. Ghostbusters, it's like how Obama tries to stay above the fray while Michelle tells you sit down and I'm going to be real with you. Yeah. Well, I mean, apparently Barack wants to be more involved with politics, but it's Michelle that is the one that's like watering him down and trying to keep him back. I don't know if that's true or not. That is the insider's idea of what's happening. So it's tough.
Absurd it is to imagine that you might have done anything but make our family and this entire country proud.
How could you be proud after you literally left the country in a place where Trump did well?
Busy.
Like how is that? Like what? Like it's embarrassing, and he knows it. He's embarrassed.
I'm not done, y'all.
Like Obama in this moment is thinking exactly what I'm thinking, and he's thinking that Michelle is naive, and he's like overwhelmed with emotion because the support is showing that she's correct, and he's dealing with that internally, wondering if he's wrong or not, and they're showing him love. Hope and change, but we are worse off now. Exactly, Echo. Like way worse. And he's done nothing in the last 10 years. Obama has been absent. So it's like, where were you, bro? Like, what have you been doing?
Done.
Like,
So
we
much
needed
to
you,
say.
bro. We needed you. You were our star player during the finals of the most important race of your life, and you were absent.
You were doing the people's work, rescuing our economy, expanding healthcare, ending a war, ordering the bin Laden raid, saving an auto industry, winning a peace prize.
He knows that none of that mattered. That's what he's in his head. He's thinking none of this what she's saying mattered, and she's saying this is what actually matters. This is what you did do. And this is a reflection of their conversations that they have between each other. I voted for Obama in college, and now that student loan, I got an email about they're charging me daily compounding interest now. Yes, Echo, we got the same thing with my wife, with her nursing degree. We got the same thing. So now, because of Biden wrote off our student debt. She was going to have to work with a publicly funded hospital, and it was going to be written off over 10 years. But now we have to pay it back. That's exactly what happened. I'm not blaming Obama for our current circumstances. That's on the people. We're grown-ups. Too many people simply shot themselves. Ghostbusters, I'm not blaming Obama for our current scenario. I'm blaming Obama for not getting involved and getting his hands dirty and completely abandoning the country for the last 10 years as the moral center for democratic pluralism, and Obama not playing a role in fighting back against fascism. How is it on us as how are all of us and me as a science communicator going out here being you know what I mean? It's like, in a lot of ways, I'm putting myself more out here in order to do something than Obama has in the last 10 years. Like, he comes in as every couple years to do a speech for a rally, but it's like he could do so many instantly without any effort on his part. He could just say, "Hey, I want to do a weekly podcast. I want to go on shows. I want to be a part of the DNC. I want to, he could be this leader, but instead, what? We have a bunch of 70-year-olds that are in the DNC Chuck Schumer is the leader. Look, he was young. Obama still is young. So why wasn't he involved? Why isn't he involved then? How is it the whole point of everyone that's been talking about the Democrats is that we need new leadership. We need someone that's young. We need someone that's popular. Obama is the most popular politician in the country. He's young, and he has been young for the last 10 years, and he's been ineffective. I want Obama to do more, not less. And he hasn't been doing anything. So this idea that we're just going to glaze him and going to be like, wow, he did all these things for our country. He didn't. He hasn't. Unfortunately, part of that is Joe Biden's fault too. I mean, sure, like Joe Biden should have welcomed Obama in as like in part of the DNC as a part of everything. Imagine if any of them had the guts to pull financial support away from Israel too. What for the Obamas? Well, they're not going to do that. Back in 2008, the Dems that sat at home due to the purity politics in 2024 are the people almost upset than MAGA. Sure, Ghostbusters. I'm not. But guess what? Like Obama sat back and was like, Joe Biden is the face and the future of the Democratic Party. Like what? Like, I mean, Joe Biden was the best president that we've ever had in our lifetimes, objectively so, but like legislatively so by far. But was Joe Biden ever going to be the future of the Democratic Party? Like, really? He has this idea of like, you know, let the president, you know, this sacrosanct idea of like, let the president be the president and I can't get involved. But I don't know, man. I don't know. And they were all likely involved in torching Bernie Sanders. Yeah. I mean, even if you don't like Obama's politics, like, and I don't agree with Obama like on a lot of things politically, I would still want him to be out there talking to young men, talking to voters way more. Obama should be doing things with AOC or some other young, good Democratic, helping them take over. Exactly. Stop the stupidity. Exactly. Everyone's like, man, I wish the Democrats, the old Democrats would like coach up the young Democratic political leaders of the future. If only we had a young, charismatic politician in the Democratic Party that could usher in and be the face of the Democratic Party. If only we had that. Like, we did that. Like, us in 2007 when we caucused for, you know, Obama to win the Iowa caucus. That was historic. We literally wrestled the future of the Democratic Party away from Hillary Clinton and into the power of the people. Like, we did that. Like, we chose Obama as a generational talent and as the future of the Democratic Party, and he failed us. He just presidential effectiveness aside, okay? Just presidential effectiveness aside. Like, as soon as Trump became the president, like, he should have been like, wow, I'm going to do everything in my power in order to stop this from having a long-lasting impact in our country. Oh, like, even when Trump wasn't president, Trump ran a part of our media and our political center was still orbited around Trump. So the idea that Obama can't be a part of the equation at all doesn't make any sense, guys. Biden from day one should have accepted he was a stopgap in one term and set the ground for someone else. I mean, Biden should have just mic dropped as the most progressive and legislatively accomplished president in our lifetimes and just mic dropped and done. To be honest, AOC did just pull out a really hard-hitting documentary-style piece that's been put out there as a welcome change of messaging style. Sure. She put out one? She did? AOC did? Yeah, I think he shouldn't have like stayed. You know, he shouldn't have stayed and ran again. I mean, it's you know, it's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'll look it up. I'll watch it, but I don't see it. Yeah, let me know. Anyway, let's keep watching. We got so much to go. Oh my God. Yeah, $2 billion. He got $2 billion of free press in 2016.
Safe from Ebola. Regulating the banks.
Regulating the banks? Don't you dare! Oh my God, dude, don't do this. Don't do this. Obama did not regulate the banks. No, he didn't charge any of them for fraud. He never actually went after them. Come on, dude. Don't do this. Come on, dude. Like Trump, like Obama not regulating Wall Street after the greatest financial fraud in the history of the world, and not going after them for actual fraud, for bundling subprime mortgages in with AAA mortgages and causing a global financial collapse. And like the fact that they never got any type of fraud charges or people going after them is astonishing. So the idea that he's seen as this person that didn't do that, and that lack of regulation and that lack of accountability leads directly to Trump, because it shows people that if you are rich enough and you're powerful enough, you can get away with anything. You can get away with anything in the United States. So why not get someone that's rich and powerful that can fight for you? That's what people saw in 2008 to 2016, and that's what got rise to Trump. It's like literally, it's a walking trail.
Up for marriage equality.
Which, by the way, guys, Obama was not for at the beginning. He was for civil unions, and he did not believe in gay marriage. Just an interesting fact. So he changed over time, by the way. I mean, I'm happy that he did, but this was something I remember in 2008 talking about, and people were like, and it was like, nobody's going to be perfect. So that's another thing. When people talk about purity politics, like even Obama wasn't perfect. You know what I mean? Didn't Harris go after the California banks for mortgage fraud? I don't know about that, Linda. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I know what you're saying and agree people need to put in prison for 2008, and she's probably referencing Dodd-Frank. Exactly, Ghostbusters. Yeah, she is. She's referencing that he passed Dodd-Frank, for sure. But, like, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Listening to science.
Listening. That's it. That was our moment. That was our moment. That was our moment. Listening to science. Woo! We did it. That was all we got. That's all we got. Listening to science. That's it. That's it. That's it. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's it. That's all we got. Just listening to science. Oh, man. That one time he actually through the I want to say sequestration, that it was a 10% cut on all federal programs. So he actually cut science spending on one of the years, because there was because during one of the government shutdowns, he did cut science for a little bit.
Comforting an entire nation in the face of unspeakable tragedies.
Yeah.
And you did it all with...
Dude, that honestly was like incredible. Like whenever there was like Sandy Hook or something, like it was incredible to actually have a president that could make a presidential address without like, saying like, bringing up, like being a president for all Americans, right? Like creating addresses and talking about things like bringing us together. It was, that was an amazing moment for sure. You can thank Paul Ryan. Yeah, exactly. He is an awful person. Ghostbusters, I mean, it's very surprising. Paul Ryan, his favorite band is Rage Against the Machine. I mean, he's pretty woke, The videos about data centers and their impact on rural communities. Let's see. Data centers, rural communities. We sat down with Republican voters. Can she win them over? Is that what you're talking about? For the more perfect union? Is that what you mean? Like, can you share it with me on the on the Discord? Okay. All right. I am not seeing it. Let me see. Okay, I didn't see the link. So yeah, if you could just like send it to me, that'd be amazing. Thank you.
Such grace and class
Guys,
and cool that you made the hardest job in the world look like a
what? God. Can someone please advise Bill Clinton not to do this? Whatever this is. Just whatever the fuck Bill Clinton is doing right now with his face. Can he just never do this face ever again? What is happening here? What is, like, mouth agaped? Like, just someone help this man. Oh, Jesus.
Walk in this beautiful park.
He knows that this. He knows in his. Look at this. I am mind melded to Obama right now, and he's going. We are literally living in a fascist state right now. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We have ICE going door to door, locking up people at never before rates. We have a collapsing economy based off just nothing. Capital expenditures down. I can literally see it. I can see it in his eyes. It's like a teleprompter in my brain. I can see it. I think as a tremor, and that's part of it. My dad at the Parkinson has that. Okay, my apologies then. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be ableist. I thought he was just being a little goofy. My bad. I'm sorry. The inability to pass gun legislation after Sandy Hook was the biggest regret. Dude, especially considering that, like, again, you could just say it's for national security and do something through executive order. DrGregShow.com. DrGregShow.com. That's all where everything is. I'm really trying not to be a hater, guys. I'm not trying to be a hater. Like, I volunteered for Obama in 2008. Like, I phone banked for him. Like, I literally was, I'm not trying to be a hater. I want more Obama, not less. But I feel like all of us are having to do, we are contributing more right now to fight fascism than he is. And I don't understand how or why that makes any sense. Like, I credit him, but I think he's thinking, Monica, where are you? Maybe. Hey, Monica Lewinsky has a podcast out now, and I do think, like, looking back at it, like, the amount of misogyny, like, that she had her life ruined over that. I think that was, like, absolutely wild to me. Like, how could she's, like, the victim in that scenario, and there's just so many times now in politics where I look back and historically and I'm like, was that just misogyny? And I'm like, yeah, that probably was. Like, actually, you know what? Yeah, fuck.
Mother, Toot, Gramps, you are a tribute to
Dude, the fact that his mom died the week before he won the presidency. I don't know how he didn't, like, how he wasn't more choked up about it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he was privately or something. I would have gotten choked up, you know, like losing my mom last year. I mean, I cried several times on stream. So I can't imagine. I don't understand how he wasn't, like, crying. But obviously he's, like, cared about her. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, as in a good way. As in, like, I don't know how he didn't do it.
love. They are up there grinning and hugging today because you never forgot who you are and where you came from. Single mother, working hard to get by and get an education and show her son the world. Grandparents who didn't have much, but they had the perfect recipe to nurture your flame. Oh. You never forgot the folks in the union halls and church basements here in Chicago, where you first put your ideals to this test.
Community organizing.
You never forgot all the voters you registered and students you taught and neighbors you organized. You never fell for the temptation of a quick fix or an easy payday.
Drugs.
You never changed from that idealistic summer.
I mean, guys. I mean, are you telling me someone that moves someone so much that they're just talking about a country where he was the president of the United States moves people to tears? That's not a person that we should have as a political leader in our country? What? The amount of misogyny thrown at Anita Hill was staggering. The Senate, Congress, and the White House admit is race with misogynists. Yeah. Anita Hill was the person that was that was sexually assaulted by Clarence Thomas and it came out during the confirmation hearing, right? And that they had the whole thing about that. Yeah.
Associate who showed up on that rainy day when we first met without an umbrella.
You don't need umbrellas. Umbrellas are you don't need umbrellas, guys. We're not, okay? The umbrellas are for Europeans. Americans don't use umbrellas, all right? That's just what it is. You brave it like a man, okay? You take that water on your face. We get a hood. That's it. We do hoods. You put a hood up, all right? We're fast, okay? We're ready at a moment's notice to run, we want our hands free, okay? So that's what we do. We don't do umbrellas here, all right? Umbrellas can be caught in the wind. It's a liability, all right? We don't do umbrellas, all right?
You always gave us the very best within you. And in doing so, you reminded the rest of us that we could too. Barack, there are no words to express how proud I am of the way you showed up and continue to show up every single day.
Where? Where is he? Where is he showing up? Where is he? Getting this like presidential building done? Like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? What is he doing?
It has been
like you guys really don't like. Are we really thinking that Obama couldn't be like a Mamdani-esque figure over the last 10 years? Like, not in terms of politics, but in actual like just like creating videos, like changing the political sway. Like,
an honor to be by your side. You have made me a better person and have given us all an example that we should strive to emulate.
He knows he's crying because he knows she's wrong. He's crying because she knows she's wrong, and he knows that it breaks his heart. Michelle has a podcast, but like, which is why I don't understand that. She doesn't even want to do politics. Watching it interact with the kids when it opened and watching Trump, it's crazy to think that they had the same positions. Yeah. Trump hates his kids.
You know, there is truly no higher calling than that. All right. To all of you joining us today, our invited guests, and everyone listening.
Yeah, it's not very political. She hates politics. Isn't it? Yeah, wouldn't it be nice not to like politics? Like, I don't understand this.
And watching from afar. The Obama Presidential Center was created as a beacon of hope, a monument to our unshakable values, the ones my husband has exemplified his entire life. equality, empathy, honesty, inclusion, fairness. And especially during these anxious and divisive times, it is so important that we remember that those values are not unique to my husband. They are the same ones that your husbands and wives, your parents and children, your friends and neighbors exhibit and pass on. Every single day, millions of people in this country wake up doing their very best to live decent and purposeful lives. Yeah, we're all tested in one way or another. And there are plenty of times we all fall short. But deep down in our hearts and souls, we all know right from wrong. We know selflessness from greed, righteousness from injustice. We understand that we all rise.
Yeah, exactly. I go like, it's like she says this stuff and then she's like, all right, well, see you guys. See ya in 2028. Subscribe to my podcast. Have a good one. Buy my book. See ya. You're like, bro, like, I'm sorry, but like, come on, man. I'm not saying they have to be like a streamer or something. They don't have to be like, but like be in a world where it is so easy to make content and be in the center. Like whatever Obama did, you know, it would be, you know, hundreds of millions of views. So it's like the fact that he does nothing is so telling. Because Heather, it's like, dude, the fact that like, dude, the Banks comment honestly pissed me off. Like everything else I feel like is like, I want more Obama, not less, but like the Banks comment, like legitimately actually made me mad. I think I'm sorry. I knew, Heather, I knew this was going to happen. I didn't want to watch this. And I was like really thinking about maybe not watching it. I don't want to roast them. I'm not trying to be negative here. I love Obama. I cried when he got elected. I love him. Like, but his presidency made me so disappointed. And him completely abstaining from the public eye in the last 10 years completely blackpilled me. It's filled me with this sense of like, wow, like even when we do the right thing and we actually get something, a generational change, like getting Obama elected at such a young age to be the president of the United States at such a young age, even that doesn't have any impact, long-term impact. So guys, why do you think that AOC should be president? Think about this. Genuinely think about this. The lesson for Obama and from Obama is that AOC should not be president for another 30 years, 40 years. And we need AOC to be the next Nancy Pelosi and to be shepherding the House of Representatives for the next 30 years instead of being the next Obama so that she can be president for 8 years and then go away and retire at 45. That's the lesson. So tell me, AOC, if she runs for president, like how would you be different than Obama? What would you do? What would your post-presidency look like to make any difference than Obama? Because right now, it's really giving me, we need to elect old presidents. We need to elect presidents at the end of their career as opposed to electing young presidents, because young presidents are presidential or political talents that's wasted. Tell me how I'm wrong, right? Tell me how I'm wrong.
But every last
AOC.
one of us is an invaluable contributor to the greatness of America.
I mean, this is beautiful pluralism. I mean, this is dead. These politics are dead.
And I'm talking about the workers living paycheck to paycheck, hoping to give their kids a better future. The teachers using their own money to take their students on field trips. The business owners struggling to meet payroll but refusing to close their doors. All those folks sweating over stoves to provide meals for their communities.
Obama has always been for the Dems, not for the people. He just lied to us. I don't know, Echo. I don't know if that's true. I mean, he literally bucked the Democratic establishment in order to become president. He definitely was out of line in going for presidency against, you know, the Democratic establishment. And he didn't help the DCCC maintain Democratic majorities in states all across the country. I would say that Obama was more about like himself, you know, sadly. Like the big failure is that he didn't turn the 2008 campaign Obama, you know, into 2010 campaigns for the Democrats all across the nation. You know, they never connected those two organizations, and he was the most advanced presidential election of all time, and he didn't use that donor network and that engaged activist core in order to keep people engaged politically in local and state elections. And there was for sure a lot of this was racism, right? Obviously, people were engaged in 2010, and that's why they had a historic blowout. But you know, it's big, man. It has a big part.
Folks shivering in the freezing cold to deliver our packages, picking up trash to keep our parks clean, volunteers dedicating their weekends to coaching t-ball.
Obama blew 100% of his political currency on the ACA that got gutted before it landed to its true rush. And then nowadays it's like even worse, right? It's complete, literally the only thing that stands now. Even the Medicaid funding got pulled. So it's literally just the individual mandate. No, sorry, the individual mandate got pulled too. I'm talking about the only thing that stands with the ACA is the pre-existing conditions. That's literally the only thing. That's like a 1 week bill that they could have passed. You know, and it's so cute. Remember this, guys? Remember this term, rush? I mean, that's so quaint. You know, that political currency. Isn't that cute? Again, another word that only exists for the Democratic Party. You know, like what is political currency in the age of Trump? What does that even mean? What is the age of currency when you have a President Trump that is able to do whatever he wants, however many times, and flood the zone with however many bills that he wants to pass? I mean, bills as in like executive orders that he does. He's not passing any bills. But like, isn't that cute? Isn't that quaint? You guys remember that? Yeah.
Or directing the church choir or mentoring a child. Directing the church choir or mentoring a child.